Chapter 828. The little guy burped and couldn't stop. Su Yiyin watched from the side. It was fine at first, but she couldn't help burping with him. Uncle Zhang held the little guy and patted him for a while. Fortunately, the little guy stopped burping. When he turned around, he met Su Yiyin's lingering fear. He was startled and smiled faintly. "Young madam, don't worry. It's normal for children to burp. Even adults occasionally burp. It's just that children's stomachs are more delicate. If they eat too much or too fast, it's easy for them to burp." Su Yiyin was deep in thought when she heard that. She then poked her son's little face and said, "You drink milk so quickly every time. Be careful that you don't become fat and can't find a wife in the future." The little guy thought that his mother was playing with him. He hugged Su Yiyin's fingers and giggled. Su Yiyin played with the little guy for a while, then turned around and went into the kitchen. She took a deep breath and turned on the live broadcast camera that she hadn't turned on for a long time. After nearly 3 months, the audience in Su Yiyin's live streaming room finally waited for their host again. "Oh my God, I'm crying. The host is broadcasting again. It's a lifetime series. Hello, Grandma? The host you follow is broadcasting again. Come and see. Why do I feel like the host has lost weight? Sure enough, beautiful women are just fat for fun. Upstairs, look at my helpless little eyes. After the host gave birth to the baby, she naturally lost weight. And it's reasonable to suspect that you haven't watched the host's live broadcast. The host hasn't shown her face yet. Where did the word beautiful woman come from? Did some people have their lungs pierced? As long as it's a girl, she's called a beautiful woman. Is this an adjective? It's just a courtesy. Do you think I don't know if the host has shown her face? Do you need to pretend to be a fox pretending to be a tiger and criticize me righteously?" Su Yiyin didn't expect that after not broadcasting for a few months, the audience would tear her apart over whether she was a beautiful woman or not. Fortunately, the host appeared in time and didn't say much nonsense. He directly smashed a few villas to drown out those discussions. Congratulations to the host, Yin Yin, for receiving a luxurious Villa X10 from the host, Mountain Yusu. Please continue to work hard and don't let down your youth. Mountain Yusu, the host's appearance and face-related discussion is prohibited in the live broadcast room. First warning, second ban, third permanent ban. Hope you know. The notification was as domineering as ever. It silenced the noisy audience, and the comments in the live broadcast room were peaceful. After a few seconds, the audience began to speak one after another. "Good job, admin. Isn't it a common practice to not discuss topics about the host's face in the live broadcast room? Newbies, remember to read the rules of the live broadcast room before entering the live broadcast. If anyone still wants to incite conflict in the live stream after being reminded, they will be dealt with as trolls and paid posters." As soon as this comment was posted, it immediately received the approval of countless viewers. They had been watching Su Yiyin's live broadcast for more than a year. They boasted that they had seen a lot of storms and waves. They were more and more skilled in dealing with such matters. Su Yiyin stared at the announcement made by her host. It was as if she suddenly had a backbone. She couldn't help but smile a little more. "Long time no see. I'm the host, Yin Yin. I haven't been broadcasting for a few months because of the baby. I thought everyone had forgotten about me. I didn't expect there to be so many people watching the live broadcast room." Chapter 829. When Su Yiyin said this, she looked up at the number of viewers in the upper left corner of the live broadcast room. In just a short while, a large number of viewers flooded in, and the number of viewers in the low 7 digits shot up to the high 8 digits. She was undoubtedly the top streamer. As soon as Su Yiyin said this, the comments on the bullet screen immediately increased, and a lot of flattery and confessions quickly took place. The host really doesn't know how popular she is. These are only a small number of people. At this time, many people have just gotten off work and probably haven't reacted yet. If it's any later, I'm worried that the live broadcast room will be overcrowded. I'm worried too, so I'm taking a seat obediently. No one can squeeze me out. Hello, is this Uncle Cop? I want to report that the guilty party is suing the victim first. It's clearly the host's family of 3 living happily and forgetting about us. How dare you accuse us of forgetting you? You should be punished. Punish the host by making a big meal today as a reward for us. As long as the host doesn't turn off the broadcast, we won't leave. We'll walk the flower path with the host until the end of the world. I always felt that something was missing when the host wasn't around. Now that the host is back, let's send some gifts first. After such a long hiatus, countless enthusiastic viewers spontaneously showered Su Yiyin with gifts. In a short while they pushed her back to the top of the gift list. Su Yiyin was shocked by the enthusiasm of the crowd. She was stunned for a moment before she reacted. She didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Thank you for your support, everyone. Stop showering me with gifts. I'm embarrassed to receive gifts after such a long hiatus. Ha ha, we want the host to feel embarrassed so that she can broadcast more in the future. Brothers, let's send gifts. F***ck, there's such a thing. I get it. Let's send gifts. Su Yiyin's words not only failed to persuade them, but also made them send gifts even more happily. She really couldn't keep up with these people's brain circuits. Today, I'd like to bring you some medicinal cuisines for children's illnesses. Children? Did the streamer want to do this live stream because of the baby at home? Speaking of which, the host's baby is almost a month old, right? I want to see a cute baby. +1. The host and her husband's children must be very cute. Even if they can't see the host, they can look at the children. As an old single dog, my favorite thing to do is to suck puppies. If the streamer allows the baby to show up, I promise to abandon the previous harem of Zai Zai. From now on, I will only dote on the streamer's Zai Zai. Please Zai Zai, please Zai Zai. Su Yiyin looked at the comments that flashed by quickly. Even through the screen, she could imagine the greedy eyes of this group of weird uncles and aunties sharpening their knives to kill her child. The corner of her mouth twitched slightly, and she decisively ignored their requests. Children's stomachs are tender and delicate. Compared to adults, they are weaker. Usually, if the child really had a minor illness or pain, parents were also afraid that taking too much medicine would not be good for the child's health. Today, I'll bring you a few medicinal cuisines that are suitable for children's tastes, can improve children's physiques, and speed up their recovery. Su Yiyin said as she took out the ingredients for today's dishes from the cabinet at the side. She arranged them simply and placed them on the table. Today, the first thing I'm going to make today is radish honey drink and lily beer pear lotus root soup. Chapter 8:30. The weather has changed a lot recently, and the temperature difference between day and night is nearly 10 degrees. It's the season for colds. If adults don't pay attention, it's easy for them to catch a cold, let alone children who are weak. As soon as Su Yiyin finished speaking, she immediately got the approval of many of the mothers in the live broadcast room. Yes. My baby was affected 2 days ago. He caught a cold, had a fever, and had a runny nose. He lost a lot of weight in a few days. If the medicine is too light, it won't be so easy to recover. If it's too heavy, we're afraid that it will hurt the child. After catching a cold, he's uncomfortable. As parents, we feel like we're fighting a war. My baby is the same. He's usually very active, but when he catches a cold, he's like a kitten. Usually when he makes a fuss, I can't wait to pick him up and spank him. Now that he's not making a fuss, my heart feels sour and uncomfortable. The mothers were busy sharing their babies on the bullet screen. A group of single viewers trembled and didn't dare to speak. Sob, they couldn't keep up with others in marriage and they couldn't keep up with giving birth. Lily and pear white lotus root soup. The main ingredients are lily, pear, and lotus root. It's recorded in Materia Medica that pear and lily have the effect of purging heat and reducing phlegm, moistening the lungs and quenching thirst. Lotus root also has the effect of clearing heat. Stewing these three things together can relieve a child's cold, cough, and other symptoms to a certain extent. As Su Yiyin spoke, she tore the lily into pieces and cut the pear and lotus root into small pieces. First, she stewed the lily and lotus root for 10 minutes, then added the pear together to make the soup. I've made a medicinal diet for coughing before, snow pear with rock sugar, which is also suitable for children. Today I'm bringing another medicinal diet for coughing, radish honey drink. Radish has always been known to be better than ginseng. Oh, it's the ginseng that appeared in my live broadcast room before. New viewers who don't know can look through the previous recordings. Radish is rich in nutrients. It has the effect of reducing phlegm, stopping coughing, clearing heat, and promoting saliva. Ginger can kill bacteria and disperse cold. Together with honey and dates, it's very effective for coughing caused by colds. While Su Yiyin was speaking, the dates, radish, and ginger slices were all thrown into the pot and boiled. Both of the soups took some time. After they were cooked, Su Yiyin immediately started cooking other dishes. Next, I'll make 2 medicinal cuisines to improve the children's anemia. Some children are prone to anemia after 6 months of birth. At this time, they need to eat something to replenish their blood to improve their physique. There was a saying that one must first replenish iron in order to replenish blood. This was because iron could help the human body synthesize red blood cells, thereby improving anemia symptoms. Among all the ingredients, the liver contains the most iron element. Today, I'm going to make fresh eggplant liver and stir-fried lamb liver with chives. Both dishes used livers, but the lamb liver stir-fried with chives used lamb liver, while the pork liver stir-fried with eggplant was used. But no matter what, the white membrane on the liver had to be removed first. Otherwise, the liver would be full of a fishy smell. Not to mention children, even adults might not be willing to eat it. Su Yiyin brushed a few times to remove the film, cut it into slices and blanched it with water. Children's immunity is weaker, so you have to be more careful with what you put into your mouth. In order to avoid some invisible bacteria in the raw food, you can first boil it in water to sterilize it. It's safer. Su Yiyin fished out the slices of lamb liver as she spoke. She heated up the oil in the wok and stir-fried it with scallions and ginger until it was fragrant. Then she poured in the lamb liver. In an instant, the live broadcast room was filled with smoke, and the aroma was overflowing. Chapter 831. Stir-fried lamb liver with chives was relatively easy to make. After stir-frying the lamb liver, add soy sauce and chives, and stir-fry it on high heat for a while. It had to be said that cooking still required some talent. After Su Yiyin became popular on the live streaming website, it wasn't that no one saw the business opportunity. They copied Su Yiyin's live streaming method and wanted to create a second Su Yiyin. Especially in the 3 months when Su Yiyin was off the air, various live streaming platforms had emerged endlessly. There was even a platform that held a food live streaming competition in order to attract some viewers from Chew on Chew to attract some viewers. However, these streamers who were promoted by marketing power had neither Su Yiyin's Chinese medicinal herbs, nor her knife skills, nor her good craftsmanship that turned something rotten into something magical. Some of the viewers who were led away by the topic went to other streamers on other websites and were fed a hand of poison. They had to run back to Su Yiyin's live streaming video to detoxify themselves. However, there was still a certain gap between a live streaming video and a live streaming video. After waiting for 3 months to be fed, the viewers were almost crying when they finally had a bite of good food. Without needing Su Yiyin's reminder, they couldn't wait to open the taste simulator and taste it. It's it. This familiar taste, sob. I'm so moved that I'm about to cry. After 3 months, I'm already crying in front of the screen when I'm eating the food in the streamer's live streaming room again. I hope the streamer can be more diligent in the future. Don't forget that other than the little rascal, there are also us viewers who have been waiting for you to come back and feed you. I actually quite like to eat pig liver, but there's no way to make it as fresh and crisp as the streamers. It's cooked but not burnt. Previously, when the streamer made pig liver porridge, I tried to make it myself once. It was shameful and dry and I felt wronged and cried. These viewers' mouths were also fed by Su Yiyin's craftsmanship. Some of the things that were edible before were now difficult to eat. Why else would it be said that it was easy to go from simplicity to luxury, but difficult to go from luxury to frugality? Su Yiyin removed the water from the previously marinated pig liver and cut it into pieces. When she looked up, she saw the message and smiled faintly. Pig liver is shameful because of the white film inside, so it must be removed before cooking. If it's firewood, it's probably because you've been cooking it for too long. You can just cut it short. It was more troublesome to make fresh eggplant and liver. First, the boiled sweet potatoes were pressed into a puree, then the pig liver and flour were added to mix it into a paste. After that, the thick pieces were kneaded out by hand and fried in the pan to form the eggplant and liver. After the tomatoes were stir-fried, the water starch was added, and the light soy sauce was thickened into a sauce. Then the sauce was directly drizzled over the eggplant steak. It was crispy on the outside and tender on the inside, and the aroma of fresh eggplant and liver steak was the best. This dish can be eaten by babies born in October and above. However, you have to pay attention to the fact that you can't make the pork liver too hard when you cook the fresh eggplant and liver stew. Otherwise, it won't be easy to digest. Su Yiyin said while wiping his hands, "Speaking of which, I'll be bringing a few medicinal cuisines that can relieve constipation in children. Honey milk sesame soup, mulberry desert cistanche soup and sweet potato porridge. These 3 have a sweet taste and are not as bitter as medicine, so they are very suitable for children." After Su Yiyin finished speaking, she was ready to start with the most time-consuming mulberry desert cistanche soup. Just as she took out the casserole, she heard a ding-dong sound from the live broadcast room. She originally thought that her man or some old viewers who came in later had sent her some gifts. When she looked up and glanced at it, the expression on her face froze. Chapter 832. Congratulations to the host, Yen Yen, for receiving 100 luxurious villas from a loyal viewer, not even one day. After testing the amount of rewards given by the user, not even one day, in the Yen Yen's little kitchen, live broadcast room has met the upgrade requirements, automatically upgraded to the host's Silver Guardian. As soon as the reward message came out, the live broadcast room was immediately flooded with gifts. Not only did it stun the tens of millions of viewers in Su Yiyen's live broadcast room, but it also attracted some viewers from other live broadcast rooms and channels. If I remember correctly, a luxurious villa should cost 10,000 yuan, right? So this new nouveau riche just came in and threw in 1,000,000 yuan? The happiness of the rich is really not something that ordinary people like us can imagine. I'm so jealous. The nouveau riche who came to watch quickly gave out 1,000,000 yuan. This is no longer a nouveau riche but a godly nouveau riche, right? After the number one daddy on the leaderboard, is there going to be another big boss in our live broadcast room? There were many nouveau riches squatting in Su Yiyen's live broadcast room, but because of the existence of Huo Huan, the human-shaped bug who used public resources for private purposes, she occupied the number one daddy position all year round and laughed at everyone. On the contrary, it made the little nouveau riches who could easily occupy a spot in other live broadcast rooms, somewhat inconspicuous. Now, it seemed that there was finally someone who could fight. Everyone present was a little excited and wanted to see who was the real battle magnate among the nouveau riches. Of course, not everyone was happy to see this. Some viewers who were frightened by the unusual data couldn't help but feel a little worried. 1,000,000 yuan in one shot. If he's not a real nouveau riche, then his brain must be muddled and he used something that shouldn't be used. I hope it's not the latter. I just saw two similar news 2 days ago. I hope the host won't be affected by this. I also saw the one above. To be honest, I'm a little worried. In this regard, the new big boss's response was to give Su Yiyen another 100 luxurious villas. Not even one day, I didn't use it, I have money. The viewers in the live stream were stunned by this move, and the comments on the bullet screen went blank for a while before a comment popped up. F***ck listen. Is this something a human would say? The words, I have money, made me smell a little rich man's domineering aura. Where did this overbearing CEO come from? Someone come and wake me up. What do you mean rich man's domineering aura? Be direct, it's clearly the fragrance of money. The viewers in the live stream were relieved and began to flatter the newly promoted nouveau riche. However, Su Yiyen's face sank after seeing this person's ID. Not even a day. If the first few words were read backwards, wouldn't it be Dotiani? He appeared in her medicinal cuisine restaurant, sneaked into the hotel where her child's full moon ceremony was held, and the company that was originally completely opposed to her suddenly had a very good attitude and wanted to cooperate with her company. Now he appeared in her live broadcast room. Su Yiyen did not think it was a coincidence. Su Yiyen's mind was spinning. He didn't know how to reasonably ignore this new nouveau riche. The top of the live broadcast room was flooded with red packets again, and the colorful special effects followed. Congratulations to the host, Yen Yen, for receiving a luxurious villa *520 from the host. Mountain you 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 mountain. I knew mountain you 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 mountain you. Chapter 833. This reward was too overbearing. It was enough to make this special effect flash in Su Yiyen's live stream for more than an hour. Not only did it shock Su Yiyen, but it also stunned many viewers who had joked not long ago that the new nouveau riche would be able to knock down the number one daddy on the leaderboard. What the F***ck? Absent. JPG, facts have proven that your daddy is still your daddy. The number one daddy on the leaderboard is the tallest. Even a pheasant who changed halfway wants to be a phoenix. Don't be afraid of him. Just do it, go for it. Wait, love is stronger than gold? When did the website have such an exclusive title? Why haven't I seen it before? I haven't seen it before either. It should be unlocked after spending a certain amount. Think about it carefully. Which streamer on the website is as rich as the one in our live stream? Look at this person's fan value. TSK, how much money did he spend on the streamer? Love is stronger than gold. I'm dying of laughter. Love is stronger than gold. Is this an official stamp? Come, let me see how many other flirtatious B***cheese want to usurp the throne. As long as the number one daddy doesn't fall, no matter how much you jump around, you'll only be a servant who washes feet. You can't even be considered a concubine. When Su Yiyan saw the 520, her eyebrows twitched. She silently shouted in her heart, "What a prodigal man." Before she could finish feeling heartache, Do Tianyi, not to be outdone, also threw a 520 over. Congratulations to the streamer Yen Yen for receiving 520 luxurious and exquisite villas from loyal viewers. None at all? Congratulations to the streamer Yen Yen for receiving 520 luxurious and exquisite villas from the great host, Mulberry Without Mountain. Congratulations to the streamer Yen Yen for receiving 1314 luxurious and exquisite villas from loyal viewers. None at all? Congratulations to the streamer Yen Yen for receiving 1314 luxurious and exquisite villas from the great host, Mulberry Without Mountain. High reward after high reward flashed past the top of the live broadcast room like flowing water. The audience watched the battle between the two big shots. From the initial excitement to shock, fear, and finally numbness, they felt that their worldview had been reshaped. They almost couldn't recognize money anymore. Su Yiyan was the same. From the initial heartache to depression and then to numbness, it took less than a minute. But even if he was numb, Su Yiyan still felt his eyes hurt when he looked at the screen full of colorful special effects. Finally, he couldn't help but smash the kitchen knife he used to cut sweet potatoes on the chopping board. Enough. The kitchen knife hit the chopping board with a loud thud. Everyone in the live broadcast room, including the two merciless money-spamming machines, was shocked. Many people looked at the kitchen knife that was firmly inserted into the edge of the chopping board. Its tip even emitted a cold light. For some reason they suddenly felt a chill run down their necks, and they immediately became cowards. This is a proper gourmet live broadcast room. If you want to spam, go somewhere else. Can't you see that the screen is occupied by you? Can't you let others speak? Can't you let others watch the live broadcast? The turtle dove has taken over the magpie's nest. Do you really think this is your territory? In other live broadcast rooms, the streamers greeted the big shots on the leaderboards with smiles, hoping that they would give them more rewards. This live broadcast room was different. Not only was it not grateful to the rich big shots who were spamming the screen to fight for favor, but it was also directly attacked by the irritable big sister. Many of the audience watching the live broadcast couldn't help but gasp. They broke out in cold sweat for Su Yiyan. They were afraid that she would attack the top daddy of the leaderboards and leave. However, unexpectedly after being attacked, the two of them didn't continue to spam gifts. Instead, they admitted defeat. Chapter 834. Not at all, I was wrong. I'm sorry. I won't do it again. Mountain Yusu, I didn't consider it well. I'm sorry. There won't be a next time. The audience's eyes widened as they stared at the two comments in disbelief. They had actually become cowards just like that? But why did they suddenly feel a little disappointed? However, with the two of them being scared, the audience, who had been a little worried, hardened their resolve. Tsk. Look at their tone. Don't they look like concubines who tried their best to fight for favor in front of the host but were despised? So sad. Just these two? Concubines? They're at most 3 years old. Our host is not an emperor. She's a kindergarten director. She has one child in each hand. She specializes in dealing with naughty children. Haha, today's live broadcast is really worth it. Not only can I watch the host cook delicious food and eat delicious food, but I can also witness the big shots fighting for favor. I can also imagine the overbearing president falling in love with my palace. I'm so happy. I'm talking about you. Look at what you've done to the screen in the live broadcast room. The airship is flying everywhere and the special effects are flashing. Our eyes are dazzled. So what if you're rich? Do you really think you can win the host's heart by throwing money around? Naive. The host is mine. The host is right. You can show off if you have a little money. Do you really think you can win the host's heart? Don't you know that the host has a husband and children? You're spoiling her. The audience, who had been blinded by the special effects and had some subtle hatred for the rich, seemed to have found their backbone in an instant. They began to mock and ridicule the two big shots who occupied the top of the list. As a result, after a comment was posted and when they wanted to post more, they found, "Dear user, you have been banned for half an hour because your comments in the live broadcast room violated the forum rules. Please wait patiently for the ban to be lifted. Regulate the online comments. Happiness is yours and mine. Everyone." QQ, what the hell, happiness is yours and mine? It turned out that being rich was really amazing. Not only could you be first on the list, but your father could also be a room manager. The two of them stopped causing trouble, and the live broadcast room returned to its original liveliness and harmony. Su Yiyin temporarily turned off the flashing special effects and focused on making the remaining 3 medicinal cuisines. In addition to mulberries and desert sistanche, the mulberry desert sistanche soup also added black sesame seeds and stir-fried citrus aurantium. The mulberries were slightly sweet, and the black sesame seeds were rich. After boiling, the soup was sweet and delicious, and there was almost no medicinal taste. Honey milk sesame soup was a small dessert soup after meals. Fried sesame seeds with milk and honey were added. It was fragrant, sweet, and soft. It was very suitable for children who liked sweet things. Ripe sweet potatoes also had their own sweetness. When mixed with sweet rice and boiled together with a little white sugar, it could also stimulate a child's appetite and promote digestion. By the time Su Yiyin was almost done with all the ingredients, the lily beer pear and lotus root soup was almost ready. She added the lily slices that she had prepared earlier and simmered them for 10 minutes. Okay, that's all for today's live stream. As usual, there would be a lucky draw before the broadcast ended. A few lucky audience members would be chosen, and each of them would get to taste a dish. Although today's theme is children's medicinal cuisine, these things can actually be eaten by adults as well. But do you adults have the nerve to snatch food from children? Adults who didn't have a conscience rubbed their hands in glee and expressed their lack of moral integrity. Who wasn't a baby? Don't worry, we won't show mercy just because our competitors are children. Chapter 835. The lucky draw was very fast, and the list of the lucky audience members came out immediately. Su Yiyin glanced at it and confirmed that Do Channy's ID was not on it. She breathed a sigh of relief and previewed the next livestream. Next time, if there are no accidents, the children will have diarrhea, hiccups, night cries, and nutritional deficiencies. Those who are interested can pay attention. The exact time of the livestream is to be determined. I will try my best to restore the previous livestream frequency. I won't stand you up for so long like this time. After Su Yiyin finished speaking, she ignored the people in the livestream and coldly turned off the livestream. When she turned her head, she saw the figure of her man at the kitchen door as expected. Su Yiyin narrowed her eyes and couldn't help but sneer when she recalled the huge amount of money this person had spent on the livestream not long ago. Huo Chenhuan looked at his wife smile and suddenly felt a chill down his spine for some reason. He felt that he might be in big trouble. Huo Beichen's crisis radar went off very quickly and decisively went up to his wife to curry favor. I heard from Uncle Zhang that you ran to the kitchen as soon as you came back. Why did you suddenly think of cooking? Su Yiyin glanced at him and thought to herself, keep pretending, keep pretending. Half an hour ago he was still spending a lot of money in the live stream, but now he was pretending to be a little white lotus. He was as innocent as he could be. I couldn't tell that he had the talent to be an actor. When I came back, I saw the baby hiccuping and suddenly had an idea, so I decided to start the live stream. The baby hiccuped. Huo Chenhuan thought to himself, isn't the hiccuping part of the next live stream? Since she came up with the idea because of her baby hiccuping, why didn't she do it this time? Why did she leave it for the next live stream? However, a certain someone had to wear his little vest properly and couldn't just disappear. Even if he had a lot of doubts in his heart, he had to suppress them for the time being. If Su Yiyin knew what he was thinking, she would definitely reply, I'm happy to do it. Anyway, the baby can't eat these things right now. She can do whatever she wants. Uncle Zhang said that it might be because it drank the milk too quickly and was a little bloated. I just patted him and he's fine now. Huo Chenhuan nodded in response, but her eyes unconsciously drifted to the few dishes that Su Yiyin had prepared. Is everything ready? Yes. I'll take it out for you. Huo Chenhuan didn't care about Su Yiyin's reaction. She picked up the 2 dishes on the table and ran out. Su Yiyin narrowed his eyes dangerously as he looked at his fleeing figure. You ran pretty fast. I'll deal with you later. Su Yiyin made a table full of dishes. There was porridge, soup, vegetables, and desserts. However, most of the dishes were sweet. Although children liked them, adults might not. I'm counting on you for today's meal. Huo Chenhuan's hand, which was putting down the vegetables, suddenly paused. Rely on me? That's right. Our baby is only a little more than a month old. He doesn't even know how to eat complementary foods. How can he eat these? This is for the big baby. Huo Chenhuan. So, you're saying that I'm the big baby? As if she could read Huo Chenhuan's mind, Su Yiyin smiled faintly and called out, Big baby, you have to eat well today too. Uncle Zhang, who was standing at the side to help, couldn't help but laugh when he heard Su Yiyin's words. Ever since Master and Madam passed away, This was the first time he heard someone call his young master a big baby. Wuxia Huan was stunned. She was shy and embarrassed, and the tips of her ears turned red. Chapter 836. However, he couldn't bear to say anything harsh to his wife, so he could only silently bury his head in his mouth and silently accept his status as a big baby. Su Yiyan secretly flirted with her husband and she felt a little better. However, it was only a little. When she thought of the gifts that a certain someone threw at others in the live stream, Su Yiyan couldn't help but feel distressed. That was Huahua's money, and half of it was going to be swallowed by the platform. Although the gifts from Do Chani were probably not much, and they didn't make any profit or loss, Su Yiyan couldn't help but raise her head and look at Wuxia Huan plaintively. Wuxia Huan had just finished a small bowl of lily beer and pear lotus root soup when she raised her head and met Su Yiyan's subtle gaze. He had already eaten, so why did he still have such an expression? Wuxia Huan frowned slightly and asked tentatively, "Are you in a bad mood?" "Yeah." "Who made you unhappy?" Su Yiyan stared at Wuxia Huan for a long time before she said faintly, "When I was streaming just now, two spendthrifts were fighting in my live stream. They made my live stream a little messy, so I'm a little angry." Wuxia Huan almost choked on her porridge. Spendthrifts? She wasn't talking about him, right? It's the viewers who are watching my live stream. I don't know what's going on, but they suddenly started sending gifts to my live stream. Isn't it good to send gifts? It's not that it's bad, but everything has to be done in moderation. Going too far is as bad as not going far enough. Usually, when they send 1 or 2 gifts, I'll know that they're watching my live stream and supporting me, and I'll be quite happy. But today, purely out of a moment's anger, they sent special effects flying all over the screen. My viewers' comments were all covered up by them, and my live stream was also blocked by them. It felt like the fruits of my labor weren't being respected. Furthermore, we should still moderate our spending. They spent so much money in my live broadcast room. Even if they don't feel anything, won't their families have any opinions? Wuxia Huan met Su Yiyan's gaze. For some reason, she suddenly felt a little guilty. Perhaps, to them, this is just a small amount of money not worth mentioning. Wuxia Huan didn't think that she was a fool for spending so much money on the live stream. After all, the ID of that account was obviously related to Do Chani. Not only did he go around looking for people to investigate his wife, but he also went to his wife's live broadcast room and wanted to spend money to kick him down from the top of the leaderboard and replace him. The ambition of a wolf could not be clearer. If he didn't go against this scheming fellow, was he supposed to watch helplessly as this dove took over his magpie's nest, occupied his position, and snatched his wife? Why didn't they ban Do Chani's account? By banning his account at this time, wouldn't it be telling everyone that his financial resources were not as good as his and that he was so guilty that he could only resort to dirty tricks? It's just money, who's afraid of who? Anyway, this money would eventually go back to his pocket. As the big boss, he was sacrificing himself to generate revenue for the website. Oh. When Su Yiyan heard what he said, she could not help but glance at Wuxia Huan faintly. She thought to herself, to put it bluntly, I gave him too much pocket money. Tens of millions is just a small amount to him, Hu Jinyao, who was completely unaware that his pocket money was about to decrease, instinctively felt a trace of danger and tried to save himself. Then his gaze fell on the stir-fried lamb liver with chives. His eyes flickered. This dish. Chapter 837. Su Yiyan glanced at the dish quizzically. She frowned and asked, "What's wrong? You don't like the taste?" No. Wuxia Huan shook her head. She picked up the chives on the plate and smiled. "I remember you saying that this dish has another name. It's called..." Su Yiyan was stunned. Her face turned red. Chives did have another name. It was called aphrodisiac. From the name, it was obvious that it had a well-known use. "So, you can't wait any longer? When you were discharged, the doctor specifically said that even though you have already completed your confinement, you still need to rest for 2 to 3 months to fully recover. Why don't we wait a little longer?" "Su Yiyan? You make it sound like I'm desperate. Go to hell, you scumbag. I'll be a dog if I talk to you again." The quick-witted president was successfully diverted his wife's attention from the pocket money. The price he paid was that they had to sleep separately for another month. The reason he gave was, "Since you think I can't wait any longer but my body isn't in the right condition to do this, then let's sleep separately. Otherwise, I won't be able to wait any longer." Wuxia Huan, who had shot himself in the foot. "I suspect that my wife is targeting me and I have evidence." Su Yiyan originally thought that when she asked Xia Junxing to explicitly reject the collaboration with Hai Entertainment, they would understand her attitude and back off. However, she had underestimated the importance Do Channy attached to this collaboration. The next day, Su Yiyan had just entered the company when Xia Junxing ran over with a serious expression. "What did you say? Do Channy came to our company?" "Yes, President Do and his special assistant from Hai Entertainment are waiting downstairs. Do you want to meet them or get someone to kick them out?" "Kick them out?" Su Yiyan's mouth twitched. "Aren't you afraid that as soon as you kick them out, they'll contact the media and put the blame on our company? Even if we don't kick them out, they can still put the blame on us." This had nothing to do with whether or not they were going to chase him away. The main thing was that this person had come to them for what purpose. "Su Yiyan, you make so much sense that I have nothing to say." Xia Junxing seemed to notice Su Yiyan's rejection of Hai Yi's President Do, so he comforted her. "If you really don't want to see them, why don't you let me send them away? Don't worry, I definitely won't let them have anything on me." After Xia Junxing finished speaking, he saw that Su Yiyan did not object. He took it as Su Yiyan's acquiescence and turned to leave. "Wait." Xia Junxing paused and turned to look at her in confusion. "You can hide for a while, but you can't hide forever. Let them come up, I will meet him personally." Xia Junxing was silent for a moment before replying, "All right, I'll arrange it right away. However, please allow me to receive them as well." Su Yiyan knew that he was worried that he would clash with Do Channy and wanted to watch from the side, so he did not refuse. A few minutes later, Xia Junxing brought Do Channy and Liu over. Unlike the last time they met, Do Channy came in a wheelchair with Liu pushing him from behind. He looked weak and harmless. Su Yiyan was not fooled by his appearance. She knew very well that under this harmless appearance, there was a wolf that could bite your throat out at any time. Do Channy smiled warmly when he saw Su Yiyan. "Miss Su, we meet again." Chapter 838. Su Yiyan's eyes flashed and she pretended to be surprised. "I didn't expect you to be the boss of Hai Entertainment." "Excuse me." It sounded like a very perfunctory explanation. Everyone present knew what the truth was, but no one dared to expose this layer of window paper. Do Channy said with a smile, "Then what does Miss Su imagine the boss of Hai Entertainment to be?" "An old man in his 70s or 80s with a fat brain." Su Yiyan was speechless. If she hadn't known from the beginning that Do Channy was the person behind Hai Entertainment, she would have thought that was the image of the boss. After all, among the CEOs she had met, there were quite a few with this image. In addition, although Hai Entertainment and Dongqing Entertainment didn't have much interaction before, they were all in the same industry. The artists in Hai Entertainment had a lot of tricks up their sleeves. Before Su Yiyan took over Dongqing Entertainment was just a small company. The bigger artists were fine, but the smaller artists had suffered a lot under Hai Yi's artists. Su Yiyan couldn't possibly have a good impression of this company, so naturally she didn't have a good impression of the boss of this company. "Mr. Do, did you come all the way here just to let me see for myself how young and promising the boss of Hai Entertainment is?" Of course not. Do Channy could tell that Su Yiyan didn't welcome him. A complicated emotion flashed through his eyes. He went straight to the point. "I came this time to talk to Miss Su about a joint project." "A joint project? If I remember correctly, I've already asked someone to reject it." "Miss Su's rejection means that Hai Entertainment isn't sincere enough. So I came personally to bring Hai Entertainment's sincerity and my own." When Do Channy said this, his eyes were fixed on Su Yiyan with a gentle smile. The atmosphere in the office suddenly became subtle. Su Yiyan's face darkened, and Xia Junxing, who was standing by the side, frowned. Su Yiyan not only had a husband, but she also had a child. Was Mr. Do's words really unintentional or intentional? Xia Junxing felt that the burden on his shoulders had suddenly become much heavier. No matter what, he couldn't let this person be alone with Su Yiyan. It was really too dangerous. Su Yiyan didn't know that in Xia Junxing's eyes, Do Channy had already become a toad that wanted to eat swan meat. Unfortunately, she was the swan that was coveted. When she heard Do Channy's words, she reflexively recalled the scene of her meeting with Do Channy on the day of her son's one-month-old celebration. This person's attitude towards her was really very strange. "It's not a matter of sincerity. I did see Hai Yi's sincerity in the proposal, but only? It's just that there's no point in working together. The two companies have different philosophies, so I don't think there's a need to cooperate." Different philosophies. Do Tianyi raised his eyebrows. What makes Miss Su think that the two companies have different philosophies? Is it the actions of my company's employees, or are some artists in the company blind enough to offend other artists in your company? Or is it simply because of Wen Jingping? Su Yiyan's eyes narrowed slightly. She didn't expect Do Tianyi to be so straightforward. He directly pointed out the conflicts between Hai Yi and Dong Cheng and even mentioned Wen Jingping. Before Su Yiyan could react, she heard him say, "If Miss Su's philosophy is these, then this proposal can still be discussed." What? Do Tianyi looked at her deeply and smiled. "I'll solve all the problems you're worried about and give you a satisfactory answer." Chapter 839. Su Yiyan was really shocked this time. Solve? How to solve it? The first two were easy to deal with. What should be rectified, what should be frozen, but what about Wen Jingping? New male lead, wake up, that's the female lead. Even if you don't completely like her, you shouldn't use her as a condition to make a deal with the boss of a rival company. Or was it that the original work's forceful plot, and because of her rebirth as a little butterfly, now had some more heart-wrenching drama to drag her, a passerby who originally wanted to sit on the mountain and watch the tigers fight, into the water? Su Yiyan's mind was in a mess. For a moment, she didn't know how to respond to the person opposite her. Do Tianyi saw the change in Su Yiyan's expression and continued to smile. "Miss Su, what do you think of this sincerity?" Su Yiyan stared at him for a while and asked directly, "I thought that you wanted Wen Jingping to be the female lead of your company's annual drama because you wanted to promote her. You should have a good relationship with her." "It's just a relationship of interest." "Relationship of interest?" Su Yiyan raised her eyebrows and became interested. "Then you came to me now and offered to sacrifice her. Do you think I'm more valuable than her?" Do Tianyi's smile on his face was slightly restrained, but with some hesitation. "You're not the same as her. We're all the same." Su Yiyan interrupted him. She had calmed down a long time ago, and her gaze towards Do Tianyi was filled with indifference and mockery. "This is what I meant when I said that we have different ideologies. I admit that I do have some grudges with her, but since she has sided with you and you have accepted her, you shouldn't be using her to negotiate with me now." Do Tianyi furrowed his brows. "I accepted her because of some special reasons, but after interacting with her for a long time, I realized that everything she showed was fake. Her purpose for getting close to me wasn't that simple. Since we're using each other, why can't I use her if she can use me? Then if one day you find out that Dongqing and I are not as valuable as you think and can't bring you what you want, will you sell me out without any psychological burden, just like how you treated her?" Do Tianyi was stunned. Liu, who accompanied Do Tianyi, couldn't help but widen her eyes. It was hard to believe that someone could be so ruthless to their boss. Most importantly, their boss seemed to be more surprised than angry. This woman was really not a simple character. Do Tianyi was only stunned for a moment, and he soon heard the logical loophole in Su Yiyan's words. "I told you that you're different. She approached me with ulterior motives from the beginning. I'm not in a cooperative relationship with her. At most, I'm relying on her and using her. As for you, I'm truly sincere." But before he could finish his words, he was interrupted. "In my opinion, you're all the same. It's not that I'm the same as Wen Jingping, but you're the same as her. I don't know why you're suddenly interested in me and Dongqing, and why you're trying so hard to reach this cooperation with us. But whether it's because of past grievances or the future development of the company, I don't think this cooperation will work." Su Yiyan stared at Do Tianyi as she said this. She was just short of directly saying that Wen Jingping's purpose of getting close to you was not pure. Now that you're getting close to me, is your purpose of getting close to me pure? It's not hard to guess what you're thinking. Don't be the pot calling the kettle black. Chapter 840. After Su Yiyan finished speaking, the room fell silent again. Liu's forehead was already covered in a layer of cold sweat. He was afraid that the audacious Miss Su would be sacrificed to the heavens by his furious boss in the next second. However, to his disappointment, none of the unforeseen events that he had anticipated happened. Do Tianyi looked calmly at Su Yiyan and chuckled. "You're very smart. Just this point alone makes you completely different from Wen Jingping." Su Yiyan was speechless. "I can take it as you. Are you indirectly mocking someone for being stupid? Since you're so smart, you should have already guessed the real reason why I went through so much trouble to look for you." "No, I don't know anything. There was a saying that went, the more you know, the faster you die." She wasn't going to jump into this trap. Unfortunately, even though Su Yiyan wanted to avoid this trap, Do Channy couldn't let her do as she wished and insisted on dragging her into this trap. Miss Sue, or should I call you store manager Sue or live broadcaster Sue? I don't know what you're talking about. Su Yiyan was already prepared and wasn't flustered by his sudden revelation. I was wondering why Mr. Do would suddenly be interested in me, a stranger whom you've only met once. It turns out that you've mistaken me for someone else. Do Channy seemed to have already expected that Su Yiyan wouldn't admit it. The smile on his face didn't change as he whispered, whether or not I've mistaken you for someone else, we both know in our hearts. Since I'm talking about this in front of Miss Sue today, naturally, I already have concrete evidence to prove Miss Sue's identity. Su Yiyan's face darkened slightly. Do Channy's constant little tricks showed that he was suspicious of her identity. Today he said this in front of her. Whether he really knew her identity or was lying to her, Su Yiyan knew that after today she wouldn't be able to stay out of trouble like before. Su Yiyan sighed. So, Mr. Do came to my territory in such an imposing manner today and said these words to me. Do you think this matter can be used as a bargaining chip to threaten me? Su Yiyan couldn't help but sneer. If that's the case, I'm afraid Mr. Do will be disappointed. The reason why I hid my identity was because I felt that there was no need to publicize my little hobby. Now that I've been discovered, I can just make it public. It's not a shameful thing to begin with. After it's made public, it might even help me and my company gain more popularity. It's mutually beneficial and two-way development. Why not? Miss Sue seems to be very hostile and prejudiced against me. Do Channy sat in his wheelchair, his expression unchanged. The reason why I pointed out Miss Sue's identity at this time is not to threaten Miss Sue with this matter, but to ask Miss Sue for help. Ask me for help. Su Yiyan's heart suddenly thumped, but she still maintained a guarded expression on her face. Mr. Do's attitude when asking for help is really strange. Do Channy didn't mind. Miss Sue should be able to tell that my health isn't very good and I've been suffering from illness for many years. I went to Miss Sue's medicinal cuisine restaurant once by chance and ate some food. I found that the medicinal cuisine in Miss Sue's restaurant has a very significant effect on my illness. As Do Channy spoke, he took a test report from Li Yu and handed it to Su Yiyan. Su Yiyan looked at the test report and the corners of her mouth twitched. Chance? You call this a chance? Do you take me for a fool? Chapter 841. Su Yiyan didn't take it. Instead, she looked at Do Channy, raised her eyebrows and chuckled. Mr. Do, you've done so much just to ask me to make a few meals of medicinal cuisine to improve your condition? It's not to improve my condition. It's not to improve my condition. It's to cure it. Su Yiyan's face sank as if she had heard the funniest joke in the world. Mr. Do, you must be joking. Not to mention that I don't have much interaction with Mr. Do, and I haven't agreed to help you. Even if I really help you, I can't give you such an unrealistic guarantee. You must know that even the most respected doctor can't guarantee that he can cure any disease. Do Channy didn't argue with her about this, but talked about another matter. I heard that Miss Sue's husband was paralyzed for nearly 10 years because of an accident. The word paralyzed really poked Su Yiyan's reverse scale, and her face instantly turned black. Do Channy acted as if he didn't see anything and continued, but about a year ago he recovered and he recovered very well without any sequelae. My husband hasn't given up on treatment all these years and he will recover very well. Su Yiyan wanted to push the credit of Hua Chenhuan's recovery to the doctors who had been treating Hua Chenhuan all these years. Do Channy couldn't let her have her way, just like Miss Sue said, some diseases can't be cured just because a doctor said so. The reason why the disease is not good is because the technology is not mature. Medical science is constantly improving, and what can't be cured in the past doesn't mean that it can't be cured in the future. According to Miss Sue's words, my illness will be cured sooner or later, won't it? Su Yiyan gave him a perfunctory fake smile. You also said that there will be a day sooner or later. Who can say whether it will be early or late? Anyway, I can't say for sure. In another few hundred years, perhaps a blood disease like Do Channy's could really be cured. Just like cancer, which was once thought to be incurable, wasn't there already a special medicine developed? It's just that other people have to research for a few hundred years. Can you live for a few hundred years? If you had that much time, you wouldn't even know how many lifetimes you'd have reincarnated. Why would you care if you could cure your illness in this lifetime? When Do Channy heard her words, the light in his eyes dimmed a lot, but it quickly returned to normal, as if he was already used to such disappointment. I know it's a bit difficult, but I hope that Miss Sue can help me, whether it's to alleviate my illness or to cure it one day in the future. Do Channy hated the feeling of putting his life in the hands of others. But sometimes, fate loved to play tricks on people. The things that you were most afraid of and hated the most were often the things that you couldn't avoid. In the end, you could only helplessly compromise. In exchange, I'm willing to do my best and pay any price that you need or want. Su Yiyin wasn't tempted by the promise he gave. She frowned and said, I just said that the reason why Chen Huang could recover was because he had been receiving treatment all these years. The doctors around him. Before Su Yiyin could finish, Do Channy had already interrupted her. If what Miss Su said is true after Miss Su's husband recovered, why are these people still unknown? A disability that was once determined to be impossible to recover was completely cured without any sequelae. Just this point alone is enough to make patients and their families, who have lower limbs paralyzed and thought that they had no hope for the rest of their lives, scramble like ducks. But in fact there isn't. Chapter 842. Su Yiyin's expression changed again. This person really came prepared today. Every word he said made her speechless. He told her that he knew everything about the two of them and that all her lies and excuses were useless against him. No matter what you say today, the result will not change. Su Yiyin gritted her teeth in anger. She felt powerless when the right to speak was in the hands of the other party. Perhaps our first impression of each other is not very good. But now, and even in the future, I hope that we can become friends, not friends who use each other as tools or partners. I don't think we can be friends. Su Yiyin did not have many friends, but it was not like she did not have any. Someone like Do Channy, who seemed to be sincere in befriending her, was actually high and mighty from the beginning to the end. He talked about befriending her as if it was a transaction. Su Yiyin knew that she could not afford to be friends with him. Do Channy's expression did not change. He only looked at Su Yiyin with a smile. It's always better to have one more friend than one more enemy. Believe me, whether it's you or your husband, you don't want to have an enemy like me. Su Yiyin was stunned. Her eyes suddenly turned cold. Are you threatening me? A wolf will always be a wolf. It will never turn into a dog, let alone a cat. Even if it was wearing sheep's skin, it would sooner or later show its claws and mercilessly tear you to pieces. I'm just stating the facts. After all, there's nothing a person can't do when they're about to die. Compared to me, a lonely person with chronic illness, Miss Su should have more concerns in this world than I do. As the saying goes, a barefooted person is not afraid of wearing shoes. If it really came to this point, who knew what he would do? This was also one of the main reasons why some people who were diagnosed with terminal illnesses and had a twisted mentality suddenly came to the newspaper. I'm about to die, so why are you still living so well? Since that's the case, let's all die together. If I can drag a few people down with me, it's my gain. It was because of this extremely twisted mentality that so many tragedies were caused. It made people realize how terrible this kind of person was. At that moment, Su Yiyin's anger finally reached its peak. This man, how dare he? How dare he use her family as a threat? How dare he? Do Channy saw the anger in Su Yiyin's eyes. The corners of his lips curled up slightly, but he did not continue to be aggressive. I hope that Miss Su will consider what I just said. It's getting late, so I won't continue to disturb Miss Su's work. Do Channy said as he gave Liu a look. Liu immediately understood and stepped forward to hand over a business card. This is my business card. If Miss Su changes her mind, you can contact me at any time. Of course, if time passes, I will come back to look for Miss Su again. There will be plenty of time in the future. Su Yiyin's face darkened again. He could not wait to throw the name card at Do Channy's face. Do Channy saw Su Yiyin's anger, but the corners of his lips curled up slightly. It was as if he was certain that Su Yiyin would give in one day and contact him on her own accord. When Liu pushed Do Channy out of Su Yiyin's office, he suddenly stopped. Immediately, Su Yiyin heard someone's calm and sorrowful whisper. I just want to live. Su Yiyin's hands subconsciously clenched. Yes, who would want to die if they could live? But what if the person who wanted to live was implicated in the life and death of the people around him? Would he be indifferent to the matter? Or would he be a saint who would risk the danger of a backlash in the future to save the person first? Chapter 843. What? Su Yiyin sneered and mocked himself. Who doesn't want to live? But no matter how much you want to live, you shouldn't trample on others. In his previous life, when Jingping was like that, and now Do Channy was like that too. Thinking of this, Su Yiyin's gaze turned cold and gloomy, and his heart hardened. Boss, why do you have to do this? Liu pushed Do Channy out of Dongqing. As soon as he got into the car, he couldn't help but complain. Miss Su didn't have a good impression of you to begin with. After today's incident, I'm afraid she wants to kill you. Do Channy was sitting in the back seat with his eyes closed. When he heard this, he opened his eyes and smiled. If I didn't cause trouble today, would she have a good impression of me? Liu choked. In his opinion, his boss's attitude towards Su Yiyan was already very good. Unfortunately, first impressions were not something that could be easily changed. Do Channy couldn't be gentle, so he decided to use force. Liu wiped the cold sweat off his head and tried to persuade him. Even if Miss Su doesn't listen to force or persuasion, you're still asking for help. Wouldn't this be too? You still want to rely on her to treat your illness. What if she's upset and does something to you during your treatment? If that's the case, I'll have to ask you to help me take revenge. Do Channy didn't care. It's already not easy for my rotten life to last until now. When I die, I'll drag a few more people down with me. That way I won't be too lonely. Liu didn't know why, but he suddenly felt goosebumps all over his body. His intuition told him that Do Channy wasn't joking. Ah, boss, you really know how to joke. Do Channy didn't expose him. He closed his eyes again and said faintly, "It's not my style to speak nicely and beg humbly. As the saying goes, try peaceful means before resorting to force." He had already given Su Yiyan a gift. If Su Yiyan did not accept it, then he had a reason to use force. Compared to compromising, he preferred to hide a dagger behind a smile and seize by force. As soon as Do Channy stepped out of Su Yiyan's company, everything that happened in Su Yiyan's office reached Su Yuxuan and Huo Qinhuan's ears. At that time there were only 4 people in the office. It went without saying who spread the news. Su Yuxuan's face darkened when he found out about this, but he didn't rush to find trouble with Do Channy. Instead, he asked Xia Junxing to report this matter to Huo Qinhuan. In his own words, when Yin Yin was at home, he and his father were there to protect her. Now that she was married, her husband had to make the first move. Otherwise, wouldn't his sister's marriage be in vain? Xia Junxing listened to Su Yuxuan's sour complaints and had a hard time holding back his laughter. In the end, he still revealed this matter to Huo Qinhuan. However, he made some adjustments and only conveyed the words Do Channy said to Su Yiyan. He didn't mention Do Channy's meaningful and ambiguous tone when they spoke. Even so, Huo Qinhuan's face still darkened after hearing about this matter. Threatening Yin Yin with the safety of his family. How arrogant. Zui Yanbai stood on the side. He still had a smile on his face, but his eyes were terrifyingly cold. Maybe it's because Mr. Do doesn't have any relatives at home. He has enough to eat and the whole family doesn't have to go hungry. That's why he's so fearless and eager to do whatever he wants. Huo Qinhuan sneered and said gloomily, "You said that there are still people in the collateral branch of the Do family alive." Chapter 844. Well, at that time the Do family fought for power and made a lot of noise. Most of the people involved are no longer alive. Only the 2 sons of Do Channy's uncle were studying abroad at that time. They were not in the country and escaped the disaster. I remember that when the Do family changed dynasties, the one who fought with Do Channy the most was his uncle. Yes, Do Channy's uncle and Do Channy's father are from different branches. They are not close in terms of blood relationship. It is said that the only bloodline of the Do family's old master died early due to illness. He had no choice but to choose an heir from the side branch. At that time, the most promising candidates were Do Channy's father and his uncle. Huo Qinhuan raised her eyebrows. So, Do Channy is not considered the main branch's bloodline? The Do family does not pay special attention to this aspect. Compared to bloodline, they prefer those who are capable. Those who are capable. Huo Qinhuan's eyes flashed slightly. No wonder every time the power of the Do family overlapped, there was bound to be a storm of blood. Was it those who were capable or the method of raising poisonous insects to choose the sharpest knife? Do Channy's uncle is dead? Yes. How did he die? It is said that he was robbed and had a dispute with the robbers. He was stabbed several times. One of the stabs hit a vital point and he died on the spot. Is it related to Do Channy? For the time being, there is no definite evidence to prove that this matter is related to him. But at that time the Do family had internal strife. Those who opposed Do Channy almost all died one after another. Except for one who became a vegetable, most of the others are almost dead. Huo Qinhuan's eyes flashed slightly. What does it matter if there is evidence or not? What matters is what the 2 surviving young masters of the Do family think. Some things, everyone's heart was like a mirror, so it did not matter whether there was evidence or not. How was the relationship between the 2 of them and the deceased Do clan's uncle? The relationship between father and son is naturally not bad. If it was really bad, he wouldn't have spent so much effort to send him abroad first. He said that he was going to study abroad, but who knew if it was all part of his plan from the very beginning. It would be best if he succeeded in seizing power, but if he failed, he could at least leave a bloodline for himself and wait for a comeback in the future. How are their abilities? If they were just two idiots, then so be it. Even if they came back, they would only be serving Do Channy's head. They wouldn't be of much use. Between the two of them, the elder brother is somewhat intelligent, and the younger brother is not stupid. The two of them have always wanted to come back, but due to Do Channy's influence in the country, they did not dare to act rashly. In other words, they could be used. There's no need to really defeat him. It's enough to disgust him. Compared to getting someone else to do the dirty work, Hua Chenhuan would rather do it herself. Asking these two people to come out was just to give him an appetizer. Su Yiyin, who had no idea that she had replaced Wen Jingping's role in Do Channy, became the fuse that caused the tit-for-tat between her husband and the original villain. Now the new male lead was not in a good mood. Do Channy's sudden appearance caught her off guard. But the previous few encounters allowed Su Yiyin to be mentally prepared. She knew that she would meet him sooner or later. At first, she tried to shift the topic to Wen Jingping and attribute everything to the personal grudges between her and Wen Jingping. She just wanted to buy more time. However, Do Channy seemed to really not care about Wen Jingping at all. He was not interested in their grudges at all. As a result, before she could say anything, she died in her womb. Chapter 845. System: What's going on with Wen Jingping and Do Channy? Isn't he the new male lead that Wen Jingping carefully selected as a spare tire? Why isn't he licking Wen Jingping's boots, living and dying for her, smashing walls for her without any complaints? Why is he causing trouble for me all the time? He even said that he could help me deal with Wen Jingping. Is he trying to trick me or is he serious? Are you sure this Do Channy is really the new male lead? After the systems inspection, Do Channy is indeed the new male lead that the female lead in this world has chosen for the second time. Then what's going on with him and Wen Jingping? Isn't the male lead in this world unconsciously led by the female lead, and his EQ and IQ would drop for no reason? Just like the previous Hua Xiaofeng, he was obviously proud and arrogant. He didn't even like Su Yiyin, who grew up pampered and received a good education from a rich family, let alone an ugly duckling like Wen Jingping, who was inferior to Su Yiyin in every way. However, it was as if he was possessed and stubbornly treated her as a priceless treasure. No matter how many tricks Wen Jingping used and how much trouble she brought him, he still enjoyed it like a diligent bootlicker. If Wen Jingping hadn't seen that Hua Xiaofeng had been kicked out of the Hua Corporation and had no hope of becoming a cuckold, he might have been led by the nose for a long time. But I think Do Channy doesn't seem to be affected. Although he spent money on Wen Jingping to get the resources of a big IP female lead, he wasn't actually fascinated by Wen Jingping's female lead halo. He listened to her every word and seemed normal. No, from the fact that he could easily bring out Wen Jingping to negotiate with her, this person was very abnormal. The host's progress in stealing the female lead halo has reached 50%, causing the female lead halo's influence on the male lead to greatly decrease. Moreover, the host has various skills provided by the system, under certain conditions, overriding the original female lead's golden fingers. The familiar mechanical voice faintly carried a hint of pride at the end, as if to say, "Look, I've provided you with all these good things, who knows how many times better than the original female lead's half-baked golden fingers. Isn't it normal for the new male lead to give up on the original female lead and look for you to treat his illness? Who would be willing to give up a 5-star luxurious meal and run to torture himself by eating leftovers?" After listening to the system's explanation, Su Yiyin felt that it made a bit of sense. However, her focus wasn't on this, but, "System, I found that you've become more and more human." After that, the system on the system on it, on the system on the robot. The system. The system. The system. The system. The system. You. The. If you're talking about those Hua aprons on the little robots, please forgive me for rejecting. Su Yiyin waited for a while, but the system didn't reply. She sighed in disappointment and stopped teasing it. Instead, she asked another question seriously. "System, if Chen Huan and I hadn't increased the progress of stealing the golden fingers, would Do Channy's illness one day?" The system was silent for a while before giving a thoughtful answer. According to the setting of the original novel, the villain Do Channy's blood disease can only be alleviated, but not cured. Hearing this, Su Yiyin's mind flashed. In the original novel, Do Channy was the villain, so naturally, it was impossible for him to be cured of this disease. However, he was now the world's new male lead, with the male lead halo above his head. It was impossible for him to be mentioned in the same breath as the original novel. Chapter 846. Su Yiyan pondered for a moment, then continued to ask, "Can these things that I have on hand cure him?" "No." "Then how did he?" The system fell silent again. Su Yiyan waited for a while, but she did not get an answer. "System? Do Channy is the world's male lead, so he has the same luck as the world's female lead. Moreover, because he hasn't had a large number of gold fingers snatched away like the world's female lead, his luck is slightly stronger." At this point, the system paused for a moment as if it was thinking about how to explain the situation. Su Yiyan noticed this and her eyes narrowed. She could actually feel that the system could not explain everything to her. Most of the time, the system could only tell her certain things through hints, as if it was restricted by something. The host can snatch the gold fingers of the male and female lead, and use them to change your own fate and vice versa. Su Yiyan's eyes narrowed. After she understood the system's meaning, she could not help but swear on the spot. She knew that things were not that simple. So this was what the system was waiting for. Su Yiyan had previously discovered that a large part of the so-called snatching gold fingers was to save the supporting male and female leads who had been used as stepping stones by the male and female lead after their blood had been sucked dry, so as to reduce the public impact that the male and female lead had on this world. These supporting male and female leads could have had beautiful families and limitless futures, but because they had been targeted, not only had they become paper people to be used, but they had also been trampled under their feet and their families had been ruined. Now that she heard the system say this, good heavens! What did it mean to have the world's luck? What did it mean to be different from ordinary people? They were clearly snatching the luck of others and superimposing it on themselves, bringing endless benefits to themselves. They didn't forget to get rid of the donkey after it had outlived its usefulness and killed the person who had no value to them, so as to prevent these people from rising from the ashes and snatching the luck back from them. Su Yiyan took a deep breath, her expression extremely ugly. This should be considered a bug in the world. It's clearly a terminal illness, but just because he's the male lead, there's hope of recovery. Host, don't forget that the world you're in is originally a book. Some epics and dramas could not be guaranteed to be perfect, not to mention that the foundation of this world came from a cliched Mary Sue romance novel. It would be strange if there were no bugs. Moreover, the world will automatically fix the bugs. A large part of the male lead's recovery will be attributed to good luck, a successful operation with an extremely low success rate. Or someone suddenly had a flash of inspiration and developed a special medicine for this disease, but the raw materials for this type of medicine are rare, it can't be popularized, and so on. Su Yiyan's expression was subtle. The reason given by the system was really hard to refute. There was no lack of miracles in the history of medicine. There were many reports that people who were diagnosed with terminal illnesses and had a maximum lifespan of 1 or 2 years had lived for 5 or even 10 years because of their good attitude. Huochunwan's legs were originally diagnosed as impossible to recover, but after he stood up again, how many people would think about the metaphysical factors involved? They would only sigh at his good luck, meeting a good doctor who created a miracle. Some people even suspected that his legs were not as serious as the rumors said, and that everything was just a smokescreen. People would always subconsciously believe what they saw and find good reasons for it. The so-called bug was only a bug in the eyes of insiders like her. In the eyes of others, it was just a miracle that could not be explained with common sense. Chapter 847. Receiving Su Yiyan's praise, little Yuan Yuan blushed and said shyly, "Protecting the little master is what Yuan Yuan should do." Dun Dun on the side saw that Su Yiyan praised Yuan Yuan but not itself, and seemed to be a little dissatisfied. It ran to Su Yiyan's feet and circled around. Silly Boy followed behind the dog father and also circled around Su Yiyan. The father and son circled around for a long time and found that Su Yiyan did not respond at all. They couldn't help but go forward and rub Su Yiyan's calf. Only then did Su Yiyan notice Dun Dun and mistakenly thought that it was concerned about Zai Zai. She quickly hugged the baby and leaned over to comfort it. "Dun Dun, do you want to see the baby? Don't worry, the baby is fine." Dun Dun barked twice and sat on Su Yiyan's right foot unhappily. Silly Girl followed suit. She walked to Su Yiyan's left foot and sat down. Su Yiyan, who had 2 dogs on her feet. Ahem? Uncle Zhang saw this scene and coughed lightly. He smiled faintly and said, They may have felt angry that they had helped just now, but young madam only praised Yuan Yuan and not them. Su Yian was surprised. They also helped. After Yuan Yuan chased after them, she snatched the young master back from this woman. These two followed behind Yuan Yuan, and when they saw this woman still wanted to come over to snatch the child, they bit her. Where did they bite? Ahem? Uncle Zhang's old face was slightly red and he did not answer. Instead, it was a young girl on the side who held back her laughter and interrupted, the place with the most meat. These two little guys bit so fiercely that they almost pulled people's pants off. Su Yian, Hua Chenhuan, this trick was a little familiar. Woof. Dun Dun seemed to know that someone was mentioning its heroic appearance. It raised its head proudly and barked twice, its wet dog eyes full of praise. The corner of Su Yian's mouth twitched slightly. She thought to herself that she did not know what was wrong with this dog of hers. It especially liked to bite the place with the most meat. However, considering that the two dogs had indeed made a contribution this time, Su Yian was still generous with her praise. Dun Dun and Silly Boy also did a good job and protected the baby. Dun Dun stood up with a rustle and shook its tail like a propeller. Little Dun even patted Su Yian's calf and snorted, showing its mouth full of small steel teeth. It seemed to be saying, "Humph, don't you see who's protecting this little cub? How dare she steal their cub? It's good enough that she didn't bite her to death." Silly Boy did not think so much. She stuck out her tongue and stared at her dog father, nodding from time to show her agreement. Su Yian looked at the two silly boys and really could not bear to look at them, so she could only put her attention back on Yuan Yuan. How did Yuan Yuan know that this bad guy was going to steal her brother away? Because of the surveillance. Surveillance? Hua Chenhuan's eyes flickered slightly and he explained to her, Yuan Yuan is a family protection robot. It can analyze whether the other party will hurt the owner from the surveillance images and the behavior of people, and then react accordingly. Su Yian was slightly stunned. Only then did she remember that ever since Yuan Yuan entered their house, every corner of the house had been installed with surveillance cameras. At that time, she thought that it was nothing, but now it seemed that it was because Yuan Yuan was only focused on the construction of the courtyard at that time, and there was no one in the house to cause trouble, so there was no place for her to use her talents. Now that there was a baby in the house, and there was such a scheming traitor, the role of these little things was immediately revealed. Chapter 848. Yin Yin. Hua Chenhuan had also rushed back after receiving the call. As soon as she got out of the car, she ran into Su Yian, whose legs had turned to jelly. She rushed over to support Su Yian before she fell. Baby. Su Yian's face was as white as a sheet. She did not dare to think about what she would do if something really happened to the child. It's okay. The child is fine. Uncle Zhang and the others found out early. The child is not injured. Really? Su Yian's eyes widened. She grabbed Hua Chenhuan's hand as if she was holding on to her only life-saving straw. She was panicked and pitiful. Seeing her like this, Hua Chenhuan's anger rose to the peak. She hugged Su Yian tightly and comforted her gently. Of course it's true. I've confirmed it with Uncle Zhang. The child is fine. He's fine. Nothing happened to him. Su Yian definitely believed Hua Chenhuan. But at this time, if she did not see the child with her own eyes and confirm that he was safe, it would be futile no matter what others said. Hua Chenhuan naturally understood this point. As she spoke, she carried the child and rushed inside. Because of what had just happened, the atmosphere in the house was unusually solemn. When Su Yian and Su Yian entered the hall, they immediately saw the family's servants and security guards gathered in the hall. In the middle of them, a female servant in her early 40s was tied up with rope. She sat on the ground with her head slightly lowered, looking dispirited. The little Zai Zai, who had almost been stolen, was in Uncle Zhang's arms. His big eyes were rolling around, completely unaware of what had happened to him not long ago. Su Yian's eyes were full of Zai Zai. When she saw the child, she immediately rushed over. Young madam. When Uncle Zhang saw Su Yian coming over, he immediately let go of the child in his arms. When the little boy saw his mother, he happily waved his chubby little arms and giggled. Su Yian hugged him and carefully checked him from head to toe. After making sure that he was really okay, she finally felt relieved. She lowered her head and rubbed Zai Zai's chubby face. She complained softly, "You little brat, you really scared your mother to death." Hua Chenhuan had followed Su Yian all the way here. Now she was standing beside Su Yian. Looking at the smiling faces of the mother and son, her heart softened a lot. But that didn't mean that he had forgotten the anger he felt when he first received the call and learned that his son had almost been stolen. What the hell is going on? Hua Qinhuan's sharp gaze swept across the maid on the ground. If looks could kill, she would not have had the chance to speak at all. This maid could be considered as an old member of the family Hua. She knew how powerful Hua Qinhuan was. Being stared at by him like this, the cold sweat on her forehead became more severe. Her lips trembled slightly and she couldn't speak for a long time. When Uncle Zhang saw this, his face sank. He stepped forward and explained to the two of them, "Young master, it's like this. It turned out that about an hour ago, after the nanny fed the little boy milk and coaxed him to sleep, she suddenly received a courier call and went out for a while. In less than 10 minutes, the maid sitting on the ground sneaked into the baby's room and carried out the baby who was still sleeping soundly. If Yuan hadn't reacted in time and snatched the child back before this woman carried the young master out of the door, the consequences would have been unimaginable." When Uncle Zhang said this, Su Yiyin and Hua Qinhuan were both stunned. They subconsciously turned to look at Yuan, who was wearing a pink apron. Su Yiyin was the first to react. She freed a hand and patted Yuan's little head. She praised, "So it was Yuan who snatched little brother back. That's great." Chapter 849. Receiving Su Yiyin's praise, little Yuan blushed and said shyly, "Protecting the little master is what Yuan should do." Dun Dun, who was at the side, saw that Su Yiyin praised Yuan but did not praise it. It seemed to be a little dissatisfied and ran around Su Yiyin's feet. It followed behind the dog daddy and also circled around Su Yiyin. The father and son circled Su Yiyin for a long time and realized that Su Yiyin had no reaction at all. They couldn't help but move forward and nudge Su Yiyin's calf. Su Yiyin only noticed Dun Dun now and mistakenly thought that he was concerned about the baby. She quickly hugged the baby and leaned over to comfort him. "Dun Dun, do you want to see the baby? Don't worry, the baby is fine." Dun Dun barked twice and sat on Su Yiyin's right foot unhappily. Following suit, Dun Dun walked to Su Yiyin's left foot and sat down as well. Su Yiyin, who had two dogs on her feet, was speechless. Ahem. Uncle Zhang saw this scene and coughed softly. He smiled faintly and said, "They might be angry that young mistress only praised Yuan and not them when they helped just now." Su Yiyin was surprised. They helped too. After Yuan chased after her, she took the little master back from this woman. These two followed behind Yuan. When they saw that this woman wanted to take the child back, they bit her. Where did they bite? Ahem? Uncle Zhang blushed and didn't answer. However, a young girl on the side held back her laughter and said, "It was the place with the most meat. These two little guys bit so fiercely that they almost pulled her pants off." Su Yiyin was speechless. Hua Qinhuan was speechless. This trick was a little familiar. Woof. Dun Dun seemed to know that someone was talking about its heroic appearance. It raised its head proudly and barked twice, its watery eyes full of praise. The corner of Su Yiyin's mouth twitched slightly. He thought to himself, "I don't know what's wrong with my dog. It only likes to bite the places with the most human flesh." However, considering that the two dogs did make a contribution this time, Su Yiyin was not stingy with his praise. Dun Dun and Silly also did a good job protecting the babies. Dun Dun stood up and wagged its tail like a propeller. Little Giorgio even patted Su Yiyin's calf and showed its mouth full of steel teeth. It was as if he was saying, "Humph, don't you know who's protecting the little brat? She dared to steal their little brat. It's good enough that they didn't bite her to death." Silly girl, on the other hand, didn't think too much about it. She stuck out her tongue and stared at her dog father, nodding her head from time to time to show her agreement. Su Yiyin looked at the two silly girls and couldn't bear to look at them directly. She had to focus her attention back on Yuan. How did Yuan know that this bad guy was going to steal my brother? Because of the surveillance. Surveillance. Hua Qinhuan's eyes flashed slightly and he explained to her, Yuan is a family protection robot. It can analyze whether the other party will hurt the owner from the images and character behavior in the surveillance and react accordingly. Su Yiyin was slightly startled. Only then did she remember that since Yuan entered their house, every corner of the house had been installed with surveillance. At that time she felt that there was something wrong. Now it seemed that it was because Yuan was only focused on the construction of the courtyard at that time, and there was no one in the house to cause trouble. Now that there was a baby in the house and there was such a wicked thief, the role of these little things was suddenly shown. Chapter 850. Su Yiyin was both scared and relieved. He coldly glanced at the woman on the ground, lowered his head and couldn't help but rub Zai Zai's chubby face. After making Zai Zai giggle, he reluctantly handed the child to Yuan Yuan and said, "Yuan Yuan, be good. Take your brother upstairs with Dun Dun and the others. When master and father have settled this matter, we'll go up to find you." Yuan Yuan received the order and immediately took the child upstairs. Su Yiyin watched the little ones leave until they were out of sight. After confirming that they wouldn't disturb the child, his eyes fell on the culprit. "What else do you have to explain?" The woman's eyes wandered and her face was full of guilt. "Why did you do that?" The sudden angry shout scared the woman and she said with a trembling voice, I just saw that the young master was bored in the room, so I wanted to take him out for a walk to get some fresh air and some sun. I really didn't want to steal the child. I was wronged." "Bored in the room? Get some fresh air?" Su Yiyin sneered. "Do you think all of us here are fools? Bringing a sleeping child out to bask in the sun, do you want to give him some fresh air or do you want to burn him to death? Even if the baby was really bored in the room, you could have told Uncle Zhang and the nanny to take the baby out for a walk in the yard. Who allowed you to secretly take the initiative to touch him when the nanny wasn't around? And who gave you the right to take him out alone?" Every time Su Yiyin said a sentence, she took a step forward, and the woman subconsciously moved back in her tied-up position. In the end, she had nowhere to retreat and bumped into the edge of the sofa behind her. Trembling, she said, "I'm telling the truth. I really didn't have any other intentions. I just wanted to take the young master out for a walk. But I didn't think so much. It was indeed a little thoughtless, but I really didn't have any bad intentions. Young madam, I was wrong. I really know I was wrong. Please forgive me this time. I promise I won't do it again." "Again? This kind of thing once is scary enough. Do you still want to have a second time?" Su Yiyin was too lazy to talk nonsense with her. "Uncle Zhang, call the police. Since she doesn't want to talk about it here, we'll talk about it in the police station." "Yes, young madam." Uncle Zhang turned around to make the call. The woman's expression changed slightly and she panicked. "No, don't call the police, don't call the police. If you didn't do anything wrong, why are you worried about calling the police?" Su Yiyin saw her panicked look. "You said that you just wanted to take the child out to bask in the sun. There are so many pairs of eyes in the house, including surveillance cameras, that can prove that you want to steal the child. Everyone had their reasons. The best way was to call the police and let an impartial person investigate and judge." "Uncle Zhang, call the police." "No, don't." The woman fell to the ground and struggled to move towards Su Yiyin. Su Yiyin looked at her condescendingly. He didn't feel sorry for her at all. His tone became colder and colder. "I'll give you one last chance. Tell me the truth, why did you steal my child?" The woman trembled and lowered her head. Her face showed that she was struggling. Su Yiyin didn't have that much time to waste with her. "Uncle Zhang. I'll talk. The woman screamed and looked up at the people around her who were looking at her coldly. Knowing that she couldn't escape today, she gritted her teeth and said, "I didn't want to steal the child. Someone asked me to help take the child out. He said that as long as I brought the child out to him, he would give me a sum of money." Chapter 851. Su Yiyin and Huo Chenhuan looked at each other. They were not surprised. It was impossible for them to believe that there was nothing fishy about a family thief helping to steal a child. However, compared to the person in front of them who had suddenly done all this stupidly, Su Yiyin and Uncle Qiao were obviously more willing to believe that there was a shady mastermind behind her who was manipulating all of this. "Who is it?" The female servant looked up and met Huo Chenhuan's extremely cold eyes. She shivered and whispered, It's the eldest young master." The eldest young master was what the old servants in the old mansion who had been working at Huo Chenhuan's parents had called Huo Qihan. Even after Huo Chenhuan's parents had passed away and Huo Chenhuan had taken over the old mansion and parted ways with Huo Qihan, they had not changed the way they addressed him. This answer was unexpected for Su Yiyin and Huo Chenhuan, but it was also reasonable. "What did he ask you to do?" "He asked me to find an opportunity to secretly take the young master out and hand him over to him. As long as I can do this, he will give you money?" "Yes." "How much?" Five million. Su Yiyin sneered. "Huo Qihan, you bought my son for only 5 million yuan. Huo Qihan really made a good deal." When Uncle Zhang and the others heard Su Yiyin's words, they looked at the woman with disdain and disappointment. Most of the people who could stay in the old mansion had worked in the family Hua since Hua Qinhuan's parents' generation. Most of these people had received favors from Hua Qinhuan's parents. Even during Hua Qinhuan's most difficult period, she had never mistreated them. Therefore, most of them were very loyal and would not cause any trouble under normal circumstances. In their eyes, people like this woman, who would sell their masters for a little money, were no different from traitors. Not to mention that her target was the little young master whom they looked at like the apple of their eye. She was simply insane. The woman met everyone's wary gazes and panicked. She begged for mercy in a loud voice. "Young master, young madam, I really had no choice but to do such a wicked thing. My son gambled and owed a huge debt. If he didn't pay it back, those people would chop off his fingers and beat him to death. My husband died early and left me with this son. I really can't watch him get beaten to death." The woman's face was covered in tears and snot. She cried pitifully. Coincidentally, the eldest young master found me and asked me to help him sneak the little young master out. I thought that since eldest young master is little young master's uncle, he definitely wouldn't hurt little young master, so I agreed to eldest young master's request and helped him with this matter. That's enough. Do you think he won't do anything to the baby because he's the baby's uncle? Or do you think that as long as you finish this job, you can get the money, and as long as you have the money, your son will be able to pay off his debts and won't be chopped off? The woman did not expect Su Yiyan to expose her true thoughts. Her eyes darted around for a moment, but she quickly calmed down and said in a sorrowful voice, "Young madam, I was at my wit's end and had no choice but to do this kind of thing in a moment of confusion. Little young master is fine now. Please forgive me this time." It would have been better if she did not say this. Once she said this, Su Yiyan was filled with anger. She was so angry that she went forward and kicked the woman to the side. "You were at your wit's end? You were at your wit's end and wanted to use my son as a sacrifice in exchange for your son's safety. You people are not worthy." Chapter 852. The woman was stunned by Su Yiyan's kick. When she came to her senses, she instinctively tried to struggle, but Su Yiyan stepped on her, rendering her unable to move. "Get this straight. My son is fine because my family was capable enough to snatch him back from you, not because you realized your mistake and sent him back safely. So, how do you have the audacity to ask me to spare you and forgive you? Or is it just like the old saying, a shameless person is invincible in the world?" This was the first time that everyone in the family Hua had seen Su Yiyan like this. In the past year that Su Yiyan had married into the family Hua, she had always been very gentle and kind to her family. She did not put on any airs and would even cook with several of the family's chefs from time to time. It was precisely because of her down-to-earth nature that everyone in the family Hua quickly became close to her and naturally treated her as a gentle and considerate person who did not have a temper. It was only when they saw Su Yiyan like this today that they suddenly realized that Su Yiyan was not without a temper. It could even be said that when she was angry she looked very much like Hua Qinhuan. When Hua Qinhuan saw this scene, he vaguely remembered that when Hua Xiaofeng had spoken rudely to him, Su Yiyan had also flown into a rage and rushed out to avenge him. When he thought of this, Hua Qinhuan more or less felt a little upset. Before this, he was the only one who had received such treatment. Su Yiyan, who was completely unaware that her man was still strangely jealous of her son, did not care about what the people around her thought. She only wanted to punish this thief on the spot and crush him to death. In her opinion, the person in front of her was full of lies. She did not believe a single word she had just said. Whether it was a lie or a truth, what did it have to do with her? Her son was her son, but other people's sons were not their sons? She only thought that her son's fingers would be chopped off if he did not have the money to pay his debts. Why did she not think about what would happen if her child was stolen and fell into the hands of others? Although Hua Qihan and Hua Qinhuan were brothers in name, they had turned against each other because of what had happened in the early years. Hua Qihan probably wanted to kill Hua Qinhuan now, not to mention brotherly love. Especially because of the change of ownership of the Hua Corporation. Everyone knew that the relationship between the two brothers was not good. It had even reached the point where they would fight to the death. Even outsiders could see it clearly, not to mention the family Hua, who had watched the two brothers all the way until now. However, this woman could easily say that she felt that Hua Qihan was the baby's uncle and would definitely not hurt the baby. It could be seen that she was extremely selfish. "Uncle Zhang, call the police." "Although I really want to kill him, we are good citizens. We can't use lynchings. Let's leave it to the professionals. I believe that the righteous ones will give me and my child a satisfactory explanation. Yes, I'll go now. Seeing that Su Yiyan had made up her mind, Uncle Zhang turned around and left without looking back. The woman did not expect that after she had explained the matter clearly, Su Yiyan still wanted to hand her over to the police. Her expression changed again and she cried loudly, young madam, please spare me. I still have a son. He has just become an adult and knows nothing. Now those creditors are chasing him. How can he live without me? Young madam, I beg you, let me go just this once. As long as you let me go, my son and I will repay you in the future. Chapter 853. The woman cried miserably, but Su Yiyan's heart did not soften at all. Instead, as if she had been enlightened, she suddenly realized something. Oh yes, you still have a son. Yes, I still have a son. Young madam, you're also a mother, so you should know how I feel. The child can't live without his mother. My son is still so young. He can't live without me. For the sake of my son, for the sake of the family who all these years, please forgive me this time. Don't send me to the police station. I'll kowtow to you. As the woman spoke, she struggled to get up and kept kowtowing to Su Yiyan. She looked quite pitiful, but everyone present felt a little strange when they heard her words. What did she mean by for the sake of the family who all these years? She made it sound as if the family who had not paid her any salary or benefits all these years. She had suffered a great loss, but she still did not leave the family Hua. Su Yiyan's face darkened again because of her words. It's because I'm also a mother that I know how abominable the people who try to hurt my son are. The woman's face stiffened, and an ominous premonition arose in her heart. After you go to the police station, you'd better explain your crimes properly. You'd better hand over all the evidence you have. Otherwise, we won't need your son's creditors. We can deal with him. Su Yiyan leaned over to the woman's ear and chuckled. You should know that killing him is as easy as killing an ant for us. The woman was stunned for a while before she seemed to suddenly wake up. She kept begging for mercy. I'll talk. I'll tell you everything. Don't hurt my son. Don't hurt my son. She looked like a pitiful mother when she was worried about her son, but the things she did made people feel no sympathy for her. After Uncle Zhang called the police, the other side acted quickly. About half an hour later, a group of people came to take the woman away. They also copied a copy of the surveillance footage in the family Hua house and the content of the transaction with Hua Qihan that the woman had kept. She did not know if Hua Qihan was really stupid or if there was no one he could trust around him, so he could only do it himself. His contact with this woman was actually done in person, without the slightest concealment. However, his arrogance and stupidity had saved Su Yiyan and the others a lot of trouble. They believed that Hua Qihan would have to go to jail today if there were no accidents. Su Yiyan watched with her own eyes as the police took the woman away. Only then did she turn around and go upstairs to look for her adorable children. At this moment, little Xingxing had already been coaxed to sleep by Yuan Yuan. He lay in the cradle with his eyes closed, but his mouth was slightly open. From time to time he would squirm a few times. It was unknown if he was dreaming of something delicious. Dun Dun and Silly Girl circled around the cradle happily, but their movements were very light and did not make any noise to disturb the sleeping angel in the cradle. When Su Yiyan and Hua Chenhuan entered the house, they saw this scene. Most of the anger that had accumulated outside was extinguished, and they could not help but smile a little more. When Yuan Yuan, who was also guarding the cradle, saw the two of them come in, she immediately said shyly, "Master, the little master has fallen asleep." Well, Yuan Yuan did a good job. Su Yiyan smiled faintly and touched Yuan Yuan's head, praising her. After praising her, she thought of the two little guys circling below and quickly added, "You all did a good job today. Chenhuan, the babies and I should thank you." Chapter 854. Yuan Yuan and the two little guys were very happy to hear Su Yiyan say so. Dun Dun in particular raised its head and patted Su Yiyan's calf happily and reservedly as if to say, "You're welcome, you're welcome." Su Yiyan was amused by it. She picked it up and rubbed it from head to toe, kneading the big meaty guy into a soft puddle. Dun Dun enjoyed it and was angry at the same time. It felt that its owner had embarrassed it in front of its son. As soon as Su Yiyan's hands stopped, it jumped out of her arms and ran out with its son. Yuan Yuan followed the two dogs out of the door. Suddenly, only the two adults and the sleeping baby were left in the room. Su Yiyan stood by the cradle and reached out to poke the little guy's warm and soft little face. Her heart was finally at ease. Huo Chenhuan stepped forward and hugged her waist. He whispered, "Yin, I'm sorry." Su Yiyin was slightly stunned. After she reacted, she couldn't help laughing. "Why are you apologizing? It's not your fault. If you hadn't brought Yuan home, the baby would have been in danger this time. Don't worry. The same thing won't happen again." "Well, I believe you." Su Yiyin leaned in Huo Chenhuan's arms and rubbed his chin. Then she seemed to think of something and her face darkened. "That woman? I've already asked Xiao Yang to keep an eye on her. Don't worry. Neither she nor Huo Qihan can escape." He originally wanted to spare Huo Qihan's life for the sake of his parents. He wanted to let him have a taste of what it was like to be kicked when a man was down and bullied when he was down. But of all things, he shouldn't have done that to his child. Huo Chenhuan's eyes were slightly cold. He had already calculated that even if this incident didn't take his life, he would definitely put him in jail. As for whether they could come out alive after entering, that was something that no one could guarantee. It was impossible for Su Yiyin to have any sympathy for these two people. She only said in a low voice, "Get someone to check on that woman's son." "You suspect she's lying? I just want to see what kind of stupid brat this gambler is. He gambled so much that his mother stole his child. And then, if what she said is true, will you soften your heart?" "Soft-hearted?" Su Yiyin turned to look at Huo Chenhuan as if she had heard the funniest joke in the world. "Am I such a saintly person in your heart?" "Of course not. In my heart, you are kind, smart, opinionated, and have a clear distinction between good and evil. It's just that I heard that a girl's heart would soften after giving birth, so it's true that one's heart will soften after giving birth to a baby, but it also depends on who it is." As Su Yiyin spoke, she couldn't help but reach out to touch her baby's chubby face. That woman raised her child alone and was implicated by her son. It sounded really pitiful. But there must be something hateful about a pitiful person. The reason why a brat would become a brat was because no parent was innocent. Just from what that woman said, it could be seen that her son might not be a good child. She was definitely not a good parent herself. She could not even be considered a good person. At the thought that her child had almost fallen into Huo Qihan's hands because of that woman, Su Yiyin's heart was as hard as a stone. She could pick it up and smash her head with it at any moment. Huo Qihan hated Huo Chenhuan so much. When she was pregnant, his child had died from a miscarriage because of Huo Xiaofeng's pushing. Who knew if this person would be crazy enough to kill or throw away their child? Chapter 855. Huo Qihan is the mastermind and she is an accomplice. In my heart they are equally abominable. There is no such thing as who is innocent and who is less guilty. Huo Chenhuan thought deeply. He pursed his lips and said apologetically, Huo Qihan probably wants to use the baby to threaten me and make me return the Huo Corporation to him. I know. Su Yiyin lowered her eyes slightly, and there was a hint of coldness in them. I also know that if the baby really falls into his hands, even if you return the Huo Corporation to him, he will not return the baby to us. This matter was said to be a kidnapping, but in fact, it was a premeditated kidnapping. The worst result of the kidnapping was to kill the baby and lose both the baby and the money. The best result, from Huo Qihan's point of view, must be to send the baby away so that she and Huo Chenhuan would never be able to find him again. At the thought of this possibility, Su Yiyin's heart twisted. Her child, who was only a month old, was about to be involved in this dirty power struggle and become a bargaining chip in others' hands. No matter what, since Huo Qihan dared to do such a thing, don't blame me for being cruel. If you don't have the heart to punish him, you can leave this matter to my brother and my grandfather. Anyway, I will never let him go so easily. When Huo Chenhuan heard Su Yiyin's words, he couldn't help but laugh. He asked in a low voice, "In your eyes, am I such a saint? After all, he is your brother." "You..." Before Su Yiyin could finish, Huo Chenhuan had already interrupted her. "My parents are the ones who have something to do with him. He has nothing to do with me." Su Yiyin didn't quite understand what he meant and turned to look at him in confusion. Huo Chenhuan didn't dwell on this topic. "Don't worry. I've always been soft-hearted to you and the baby. He doesn't deserve it." Su Yiyin turned her head and looked into Huo Chenhuan's eyes. Knowing that Huo Chenhuan wasn't lying, her heart settled down. She buried her face in Huo Chenhuan's arms and didn't say anything else. Su Yiyin had thought that Huo Qihan would be arrested soon since there were witnesses and evidence. She did not expect to suddenly receive news from the police that night. Huo Qihan had gotten the news in advance and had run away. She could not find him for the time being. "How did you get the news in advance?" Could it be that there is another mole in the family? Su Yin's face was very ugly, and her heart could not help but tremble. What if there were other traitors in the family who were tipping him off? She and Huo Chenhuan couldn't be at home 24/7, and Uncle Zhang and the others couldn't be by their children's side 24/7 either. The same thing could happen a second time if it happened once. What if Yuanyuan didn't react in time this time? Huo Chenhuan knew what she was thinking when he saw her face. He held her hand tightly and comforted her. Don't panic. Listen to me. There is no mole in the family. It should be that the woman and Huo Qihan made an appointment in advance. Huo Qihan didn't see her for a long time and couldn't get through to her phone. Then he realized that something was wrong and ran away in advance. Su Yiyin frowned slightly and looked puzzled. An appointment in advance? But how did they know in advance when the nanny would leave the room and when the woman would sneak the child out for him? The nanny who was responsible for taking care of the baby was also an elder in the family. Because there were 7 or 8 grandchildren in the family and she had rich experience in taking care of children, she was appointed by Uncle Zhang to take care of little Xingxing. Chapter 856. After Su Yiyin and the child returned from the hospital, she had been taking care of little Xingxing. In addition to taking care of the child, the nanny didn't have to do any other work. She basically wouldn't leave the child's side unless... Su Yiyin's mind flashed. Is it that express delivery? Yes. Huo Qihan bribed the courier to deliver the goods at a fixed time, and then found some excuses to delay him in order to buy time for that woman. No wonder. In this case it could explain why Huo Qihan could get the news in advance and run away. It was clearly the appointed time, but he didn't show up after waiting for a long time, and the phone couldn't get through. No matter how stupid a person was, he should have realized that something was wrong. How could he not run away? Knowing that there was no other mole in the family, Su Yiyin breathed a sigh of relief. At the same time she was a little nervous. Could he have gone abroad? No. Huo Chenhuan patted her head to comfort her. Before calling the police, Xiao Yang and the others had informed all the major airports in advance to detain him as soon as they found his trace. They haven't found him yet, so he must still be in the country. Su Yiyin pursed her lips and hesitated. Why don't I take little Xingxing to work tomorrow? Are you worried? As long as we don't catch him, I won't feel at ease. Su Yiyin seemed to think of something as she spoke. She whispered, It's not that I don't trust Uncle Zhang and the others, but after today's incident, I panic when the child is out of my sight for a while. I'm afraid that he will be taken away again. Huo Chenhuan saw her like this, and her eyes were full of heartache. I understand. Let the nanny accompany you tomorrow. Su Yiyin was stunned. She didn't expect Huo Chenhuan to agree so easily. Instead, she felt a little embarrassed. No, I can do it alone. During the month of confinement, although her family didn't let her do any heavy work and the child was basically taken care of by the nanny, she was really bored and learned how to make milk and change diapers from the nanny. In addition, the baby had been very obedient since birth. As long as he wasn't starved or frightened, he rarely made a fuss or cried. Su Yiyin was full of confidence and felt that he could do it alone. Huo Chenhuan saw that her fighting spirit was reignited and she was no longer as nervous and worried as before. She smiled and said, Okay, if you can't handle it alone, you can ask number 1 and the others for help. Number 1 was the leader of the bodyguards that Huo Chenhuan had arranged to protect Su Yiyin. These people had no names, only code names. At first, they only hid in the dark to protect Su Yiyin. At the same time, they also helped Huo Chenhuan. They secretly took pictures of her. However, after Su Yiyin made it clear that he did not hate the existence of these people, this group of people changed from being in the dark to being in the light. Every day they followed Su Yiyin in and out, basically being on duty 24/7. Number 1. Su Yiyin was stunned, her face full of disbelief. Aren't they bodyguards? They know how to take care of the child. Each of them was as thick as a tower, dark and strong. Some of them even had scars on their faces. If they stood in front of the child, it would be good enough if the child didn't cry. How could they help her coax the child? Don't worry. They have undergone all kinds of professional training before they took on the job. Basically, it's not difficult for them to change light bulbs, fix circuits and take care of the child. Su Yiyin? Were the requirements for being a bodyguard these days so high? Chapter 857. The next day, Su Yiyin pushed the stroller out of the family Huo's front door with a stomach full of doubts and curiosity. On the way to the company, Su Yin's gaze fell on number 1, who was sitting in the front passenger seat. After all, number 1 had received professional training and was quite sensitive to other people's gazes. When Su Yin looked at him, he noticed it immediately. Along the way, he was aware of every look that Su Yin threw at him. Along the way, he felt like he was sitting on pins and needles, and he broke out in cold sweat. Those who didn't know would think that there were many enemies lurking around along the way. It made him panic, as if he was facing a great enemy. When they finally arrived at the East City Gate, Su Yin finally couldn't help but ask him, "Do you know how to take care of the child?" Number 1 didn't understand why Su Yin would ask this. He looked at her blankly and then said with a serious face, "If young madam needs it, I can." Su Yin? What do you mean by, "if I need it"? I suspect you're driving. Forget it, I'll take care of him myself. Su Yin pushed the pink stroller into the company through the front door. She passed by the front desk and went straight to the office upstairs. Little did she know that as soon as she left, the news of the big boss bringing a newborn young master to the company spread to every corner of the company as if it had wings. A group of strange uncles and aunties who were resting in the company were all eager to go up and see what the boss's child looked like. "Baby, look, this is Mommy's office. Mommy's office is very spacious and beautiful, isn't it? Look, there are even small cars down there, one after another small cars." Su Yin carried Zai Zai to the floor-to-ceiling window and looked at the cars coming and going on the street below. Little Xingxing stared with his big round eyes without crying or making a fuss. He curiously stared at the cars below for a long time without getting tired of it. In the end, Su Yin was a little tired from carrying Zai Zai. Zai Zai also seemed a little hungry, so she put the child back into the cradle. Su Yin had just made the milk and stuffed it into the child's mouth when the office door opened. "Come in." "Cough Yin, it's me." As soon as Xia Junxing entered the office, he saw the pink pram beside the desk. He thought of the hot topic in the company group not long ago, and his expression became subtle. Su Yin helped Zai Zai hold the milk bottle with one hand and patted the little guy with the other to prevent him from choking. Hearing the voice, he raised his head and looked at Xia Junxing. "What's the matter?" Xia Junxing hesitated for a moment. In the end, he couldn't overcome his curiosity and asked seriously, "You brought the child to the company?" "Something happened at home yesterday. I was worried about leaving the child at home, so I brought him here." As Su Yin spoke, she seemed to have thought of something. She said awkwardly, "Is there a company rule against bringing children here? I didn't think too much about it before. That's all for today. I'll see what I can do tomorrow. I promise I won't let him disturb you or delay your work." When Xia Junxing heard her words, he couldn't help but laugh. "The company doesn't say that you can't bring children here. Moreover, your office is independent and the soundproofing is good. He won't disturb others. I don't mean anything else. I'm just a little curious about your baby. To be precise, many of the company's employees are very curious about your baby. Now they are discussing how to form a team to sneak up and steal the baby." Su Yin's hands paused. She almost thought that she had heard wrongly. The company's many employees. Chapter 858. Some people saw you pushing the trolley up and sent it to the company's group chat. Now many people are eyeing your baby covetously. Why did she feel like she had just escaped the tiger's den and entered the wolf's den? Su Yin glanced at the little guy who was drinking milk with his eyes narrowed. "Baby, you are so popular. People want to steal you wherever you go." However, Su Yin also knew that the verbal theft of these people in the company was different from the theft yesterday. She only snorted jokingly. "Assign more work to them. When they are busy, they won't have time to think about my baby." Xia Junxing was amused by her words and echoed, "That makes sense." Su Yin glanced at him suspiciously and asked with a smile, "Brother Junxing, are you also a member of the child-stealing team?" "No. I'm just here to tell you. I'm here to tell you that Dancing Red will be completed at the end of this month. The artists in the company have fewer scenes, but most of them have already returned." "So soon? Have you arranged the things I asked you to arrange before?" "It's all arranged." Xia Junxing paused and said thoughtfully, "In addition, there is a more important thing that I think it is necessary to tell you in advance." "What is it?" "Ning Chirui is in love." Su Yin froze and exclaimed after she reacted, "What did you say?" The little guy who was drinking milk was startled and was about to cry. Su Yin was shocked and couldn't care about anything else. She quickly stuffed the pacifier back into his mouth and patted him gently to coax him. "Good boy, it's Mommy's fault. Mommy shouldn't have spoken so loudly and scared you. I'll pat you. Just pat you and you'll be fine. It was the first time Xia Junxing saw Su Yiyan coaxing a child, and he was a little absent-minded. Almost 2 years ago when they first met, Su Yiyan in Xia Junxing's eyes was still a child who had just stepped into society. Who would have thought that 2 years later, this girl had quickly married and even had a child? The most heart-wrenching thing was that as her brother, he was still single. Su Yiyan didn't notice the complicated feelings in Xia Junxing's heart. It wasn't easy to coax the child, and a layer of cold sweat had already appeared on her forehead. Heaving a sigh of relief, he recalled the topic they had just discussed and continued to ask, "With whom? Could it be Yu Yusher?" It was no wonder that Su Yiyan's first reaction was these two people. They were really close in age and had similar family backgrounds. Most importantly, they had just worked together on the drama, Dancing Red, not long ago. After being in the same crew for so long, it was possible that feelings would develop over time. The tricky part was that whether it was Ning Chirui or Yu Yusher, they both came from talent shows and were considered to be popular. Logically speaking, they should not be able to find a boyfriend or girlfriend before they changed careers. Otherwise, it was very likely that it would be a fatal blow to their career. This should also be the main reason why Xia Junxing specifically mentioned this to Su Yiyan. Some companies would have a rigid rule in the early stage of the contract that artists could not be in a relationship for a few years after joining the company. This was to prevent the sudden exposure of a relationship from being too big of an impact, and all the early investments would be for naught. However, the situation of these two people was relatively special. They belonged to the type of people who would inherit the family business if they didn't properly mingle in the industry. The public relations department would probably be worried sick if they encountered this matter. Xia Junxing was silent for a moment and shook his head. No. No. It's Miss Xia Ningxi, the screenwriter of Dancing Red. Su Yiyan? Chapter 859. Su Yiyan was dumbfounded. When did these two hook up? After the important supporting male character broke away from the control of the pretentious female lead, he had his own new couple. She didn't even know about it. You mean Ning Chirui is dating Miss Xia Ningxi, the scriptwriter of Dancing Red? When did this happen? Who knows about it? The baby in the stroller seemed to be frightened by Su Yiyan's sudden raised voice. He pulled out the pacifier and pursed his lips. He was about to cry again. Su Yiyan's imposing manner suddenly weakened and she hurriedly coaxed, "Mommy was wrong, Mommy was wrong. I won't scare you anymore. Don't cry, don't cry." After comforting the child, Su Yiyan looked up at Xia Junxing inquiringly again. Xia Junxing opened his mouth and was about to explain when there was another knock on the door. Who would come at this time? Su Yiyan frowned. "Come in." The office door was opened. Su Yiyan looked up and was amused. "Oh, you came at the right time. I was just talking about you." Speak of the devil. The people who came in were none other than Ning Chirui and Yu Yusher, whom Su Yiyan had just been talking about. Behind them was Yun Luoshan. Me? Ning Chirui, who was walking in front, looked around and pointed at himself with a blank face. "What did you say about me?" "You said that a certain young master kept saying that he wanted to be in the entertainment industry and concentrate on his work. In the end, he only acted in one drama and hooked up with a girlfriend. He only wants to date and has no heart to work." When Ning Chirui heard her words, he probably guessed what she was talking about. He touched his nose guiltily and laughed. "When fate comes, it can't be stopped. You can't let me watch the person I like slip away from me for the sake of my career and die alone." Su Yiyan almost laughed at his words. He said it in such a dignified manner. Those who didn't know better would think that he fell in love at first sight and would marry no one but her. If he missed this opportunity, he would really be single for the rest of his life. Oh, men who knew what would happen in the future when they spoke sweet words and pledged their love. A lifetime was not short. Leniency to those who confess, severity to those who resist. "Tell me, when did you two hook up?" Ning Chirui chuckled. "What do you mean by hooking up? It's too unpleasant to hear. Xiao Shi and I didn't have any feelings for each other at first sight, but we fell in love when we saw each other again. Speak human language. It's just that after interacting with her for a long time on set, I feel that she's a good person. She also has a good impression of me, and after a while, feelings blossomed." Ha! Su Yiyan heard Ning Chirui's words and glanced at him with disdain. "Look, other people joined the production team to work, but this guy used work as an excuse to pick up girls. He didn't do his job properly." As if sensing Su Yiyen's disdain, the corners of Ning Chirue's mouth twitched slightly. He felt wronged and said, "Although it's not good for me to be in a relationship during work hours, it doesn't affect my work. My performance in the drama is remarkable and worthy of recognition. Even director Luo praised me for my talent in this area. They can all testify to that." Yu Yushi and Yun Luoshan did not expect that they would be implicated in the drama. They were shocked and hurriedly said, "No, I didn't. We don't know anything." Ning Chirue was speechless. After all, they were colleagues who had been in the production team for several months. How could they sell out at this time? The snacks that he had asked the chef at home to send over for the past few months were ultimately paid for wrongly. Chapter 860. No one expected that the person who rescued Ning Chirue from this embarrassing situation was none other than the little guy in the stroller. There was only a thin layer of the milk bottle left, but little Xingxing took the initiative to pull out the pacifier. He opened his big eyes and waved his chubby little arms to ask for a hug. Su Yiyen's heart softened when she saw him like this. How could she still be in the mood to pursue someone for picking up girls on set? She put the milk bottle aside and picked up the baby. "Baby, are you full? Come, let mommy touch you." Su Yiyen touched the baby's frog belly as she spoke, causing the baby to giggle. When the little guy was just born, he was already close to 8 caddies. Over the past month, he had been eating and sleeping to his heart's content. He had been nourished until he was smooth and tender, white and plump. His pair of small hands were like lotus roots, jointed and jointed. Several people ran up at this time to take a look at the baby. When they saw Su Yiyen pick him up, their eyes lit up. Especially the 2 girls, their eyes lit up like light bulbs when they saw such a fair and well-behaved baby. Yun Luoshan was more shy. No matter how much she liked the baby, she was too embarrassed to say it. However, Yu Yushi did not have such concerns. When she saw the legendary little prince of the boss's family, she subconsciously took a step forward and said happily, "Boss, is this your baby? He looks so cute. Can I hold him?" Su Yiyen glanced at her in surprise. Only then did Yu Yushi realize that her request seemed a little abrupt. She was hesitating whether to say something to remedy the situation when she heard Su Yiyen say, "Sure." Su Yiyen's straightforwardness was surprising. Yu Yushi was stunned for a few seconds before she reacted. "Really? Of course." Su Yiyen looked helpless. Yu Yushi and the others were her employees, and they had a superior and subordinate relationship with her. She just wanted to hold her baby. She was not so petty. "Hold him here." "Yes, slow down. Hold him here." Very good." Su Yiyen corrected her hand gesture as she carefully placed the baby in her hand. It was probably Yu Yushi's first time coming into contact with such soft little creatures. Her entire body stiffened, but her heart was soaring with excitement. "He's so soft, so small, and so fragrant." Pfft. Su Yiyen couldn't help but burst out laughing. Yu Yushi also knew that what she said was very silly. Her face was slightly red, but she still stubbornly said, "It's true. It smells like milk. It's fragrant." The corner of Ning Chirue's mouth twitched when he heard Yu Yushi's words. "I suspect that you'll bite him in the next second. Strange auntie. Don't think that I won't beat you up just because you're the young master of the Ning family. Come on, who's afraid of who?" Su Yiyen looked at the 2 people who could quarrel with just a few words and suddenly realized how naive he was to think that the 2 of them would become a couple. Yun Luoshan was not surprised that the 2 of them would quarrel whenever they met. She reached out to poke the baby's little face, but the baby grabbed her finger instead. Yun Luoshan was shocked. For a moment, she didn't know whether to pull her hand back or continue poking. Su Yiyen turned her head and saw her baby grabbing the beautiful young lady's finger and giggling. She froze for a moment and chuckled softly. "The baby seems to like you very much." Yun Luoshan looked at the child and couldn't help but touch the back of her head and giggle. "Maybe I'm more popular with children." Chapter 861. No, it should be because you're younger and the generation gap between you and the baby is smaller. The 2 older people were at a loss for words as they quarreled over such a trivial matter. They felt like they had been implicated. At this age, the baby was not afraid of strangers and did not cry or make a fuss when he was held in the arms of strangers. The well-behaved baby was always particularly popular. At first, Yu Yushi and the others were a little restrained, but later they began to tease the baby with various small toys in the stroller. It was worth mentioning that when girls, especially beautiful girls like Yun Luoshan, teased him, the little guy would laugh very happily. However, when it came to Ning Chirui or Xia Junxing, the baby would only stare at them with his big black grape-like eyes with an innocent face. Ning Chirui did not believe it. He made faces, rang the bell and tried all the toys in the stroller, but he did not get a smile from the baby. Yu Yusher picked up a small rattle and turned it around. The tinkling sound instantly attracted the child's attention. The baby stared at the rattle for a long time, then suddenly opened his mouth and revealed a big smile. Oh, he smiled. His smile is so cute. He hasn't even grown teeth yet. His teeth are pink and soft. Ah! The happier Yu Yusher laughed, the more depressed Ning Chirui was. He finally couldn't help but stand up and say angrily, "Damn, I suspect that he's sexist." Su Yiyan did not expect her baby to know how to treat girls, especially beautiful girls, differently at such a young age. When he grew up, he would probably be a Huahua prince who went around coaxing little girls. It must be that the baby's father was too indecent when she was pregnant. He must have led the baby astray by sweet-talking all day long. Achoo! Huo Chenhuan, who was busy confirming Huo Qihan's whereabouts with Gu Xiaoyang and the others, suddenly felt an itch in her nose and sneezed in front of several subordinates. This sudden change made the originally serious atmosphere in the conference room become subtle in an instant. After a moment of silence, Zui Yanbai asked with concern, "Did you catch a cold?" "No." Huo Chenhuan rubbed her nose and smiled. "It should be Yen Yen and the baby who are thinking about me." The three of them. They were caught off guard by a mouthful of dog food. Could single dogs have some human rights? "Have you found out where Huo Qihan is?" Yu Zian raised his eyebrows and a malicious smile appeared on his face. "Isn't it easy to find out where he is? He has a moving time bomb by his side. As long as you want it to explode, you can make it explode whenever you want." Hearing his words, Gu Xiaoyang could not help but squint his eyes and say sarcastically, "He even brought her along when he was fleeing. Seems that he really loves her." Husband and wife are birds in the same forest, but when disaster strikes, they fly separately. Even an old couple was like this, not to mention a couple like them who had left home halfway through their marriage. He treats her as his true love. I'm afraid she wants to kill him every minute. Zui Yanbai turned to look at Huo Chenhuan. "Young master, do you want to inform the police now?" Since the three of them knew that Huo Qihan had bribed the people in the old mansion to steal their little prince, they were all eager to rush to Huo Qihan and press him to the ground. Huo Chenhuan pondered for a moment and chuckled. "Send someone to keep an eye on them and inform the police of their whereabouts. By the way, inform Huo Qihan that the police already know his whereabouts." Chapter 862. The three of them looked at each other in surprise. Inform him? Then wouldn't he run away in advance? That's why I asked you to keep an eye on him. Huo Chenhuan glanced at the three of them. Let someone inform the police every time you find a place to stay. Let him run away before they catch him. You want to let him run around like a rat crossing the street without a fixed place to stay? To wear down his willpower? What willpower can he have now? Huo Chenhuan sneered, her eyes full of coldness and disdain. Hiding from place to place like a shameful animal. Every time you think you finally have a safe place to stay, you're immediately discovered. Once or twice is fine, but if it happens a few more times or a dozen times, what will you do? I'll go crazy. Compared to being hopeless at the beginning, being disappointed again and again with subtle hope, and finally discovering that the so-called hope was just an illusion, complete despair was the most torturous and the most devastating. If Huo Qihan was a rat, then their young master was a cat. The rat that fled in panic always thought that it could escape and see the light again. Little did it know that when it fell into the cat's trap, it had already become a turtle in a jar. No matter how it struggled, it was doomed to be punished. After Zui Yanbai understood this, his whole body shook and he said solemnly, I know what to do. Huo Chenhuan looked up and glanced at him. Keep an eye on him. I don't want the same thing to happen again. As soon as these words came out, the three of them felt their scalps tighten. Huo Chenhuan only told Su Yiyan that Huo Qihan had bribed the courier and stalled the nanny at home to buy time for the woman to commit the crime. But she didn't tell her that Huo Qihan had something to do with the woman's son's gambling and debt. The woman didn't lie about this matter. Her husband died young and she raised the child alone. The family Huo gave her a high salary, so it wasn't difficult for her to raise the child alone. However, because the child did not have a father, she always felt that she owed her son. She spent all her hard-earned money on her son, but she forgot that there were some things that money could not make up for. She thought that her selfless dedication did not earn her son's gratitude. Instead, it made him become extravagant, extremely vain, and fond of competing with others. Wuxia took advantage of this and easily pulled him into the fire pit. He used this as a breakthrough point to bribe that woman. Ever since Wuxia took over the whole corporation and drove Wuxia out, she had been sending people to secretly monitor his every move. However, his subordinates had not noticed anything that he had done. This was what made Wuxia angry. This was a dereliction of duty on the part of those who were sent to spy on them, as well as the negligence of the three of them. They could only pray that Wuxia would be made more miserable so that Wuxia would be a little less angry. They could also atone for their mistakes. Su Yiyin did not know about the little episode here. When she heard Ning Qirui's complaint, she solemnly exonerated her son. Like repel, opposites attract. This is the law of nature. It's undeniable that your face is indeed a little handsome according to a girl's aesthetic, but this doesn't mean that you can attract both men and women and make boys like you. Let me give you a simple example. Brother Junxing, do you like him? Xia Junxing, who was suddenly called out, said, "No. See, he doesn't like you either. This has nothing to do with gender discrimination. It's only about yourself." Ning Qirui was speechless. After all this time, it was still my fault. Chapter 863. Ning Qiruei, who was treated differently by the child and inexplicably took the blame, shut himself up on the spot. Xia Junxing had other work to deal with, so he left first. The baby hit it off with Yin Luoshan. With her coaxing the child, Su Yiyin could also take some time to comfort the old employees of the company. "I thought that after what happened before, your sister wouldn't let you continue to stay in this circle." Yu Yushir was stunned, and it took her a while to realize that Su Yiyin was talking to her. "Although my sister is worried about me, she also dotes on me. As long as it's something I decide, she rarely interferes." "So, you've made up your mind to continue down this path?" "I didn't want to quit." Yu Yushir looked a little disappointed when she said this. "I don't have any other strengths. My sister is in charge of the family and the company. Even if I enter the company, I'll only drag her down. It's better to find something else to do. Besides, it's not easy for me to make friends. She's so soft-hearted. If I'm not around, who knows if she'll be bullied. I didn't expect you to have some self-awareness." Before Yu Yushir finished speaking, Ning Qiruei interrupted with a faint smile. Yu Yushir was so angry that she almost jumped up and hit him. "You still have the nerve to talk about me? Aren't you the same?" Ning Qiruei was at a loss for words. He touched his nose and said embarrassedly, "Okay, I can't talk about you. I'm the same as you. My brother is in charge of the family. I'm not cut out for business. I can't do anything since I was young. I can only eat and wait for death." Yu Yushir did not expect him to say this. After a long time she said, "Oh, you know yourself quite well." Well, the words that someone said a minute ago were thrown back at him. Then the two of them glared at each other for a long time. Suddenly they sighed and lowered their heads like two defeated roosters. Su Yiyin watched the two of them go back and forth and found it quite interesting. As the youngest in the family, she could understand their feelings. As the youngest child in the family, most of them were the most favored one, but the most favored one did not mean that they were the best one. Other children were often compared, let alone this kind of child who was raised in the same family. Even if their family members did not compare them, outsiders would still gossip about them. Fortunately, the family loved the child enough and taught him well. They didn't raise the child astray. Otherwise, who knows how the family would have become restless. "Are the two of you so unambitious? Tiske, no wonder you can't do anything." Yu Yushir did not expect Su Yiyin to not comfort them and even hit them when they were down. They immediately raised their heads and glared at Su Yiyin. Su Yiyin was not afraid of them. He snorted coldly and said, "Rely on your face to make a living?" She had to have a face that was prettier than others first. Also, do you really think you can act in Director Luo's drama just because you have a face? Do you really think that our company's long-term contract is something that anyone can sign casually? Are you looking down on me? Or are you looking down on Director Luo? Yu Yushir and Ning Qiruei were both stunned and did not know how to answer for a moment. Seeing that the two of them did not speak, Su Yiyin snorted again and said ruthlessly, "From tomorrow, no, from this afternoon, I will ask Brother Junxing to arrange a few more classes for you. Take advantage of your free time to learn a few more things. With real talent, who would dare to say that you rely on your face to make a living? Isn't it good to be a young master and a young lady? You only know how to let your imagination run wild. I think you're all too free and spoiled. Chapter 864. When Ning Chirue heard that he still had to attend classes after entering the company, he felt a headache coming on. He begged for mercy with a bitter face. No, no, no. Let me earn a living with my face. I like to earn a living with my face. I've been lying at home for so long. I have to take those bitter medicine every day and receive all kinds of treatment. Now that I've finally recovered, I can't overwork myself. I've just recovered from a serious illness. You've arranged so many classes for me at once. What if I get sick from exhaustion again? Me too, me too. Although my leg has recovered, it's still very fragile. The doctor also said that I have to recuperate well and not overwork myself. Let's just forget about the classes, shall we? Su Yiyin looked at the two people who were avoiding her like the plague. She raised her chin slightly and chuckled. Now you're afraid? It's too late. I'm the one who treated your illness. Your leg injury only looks serious. Young people recover quickly. You've been recuperating for more than half a year and are as strong as bulls. I'm just asking you to attend a few more classes. I'm not asking for your lives. There's no room for discussion. The two of them opened their mouths and wanted to refuse. Su Yiyin narrowed her eyes and dared to bare her teeth and threaten them before they could speak. If you continue, I'll add a few more classes. The two of them knew that she might really say it. They were instantly discouraged and secretly cursed in their hearts. Bad boss, Zhou Yin, evil capitalist, exploiter. While the two of them were depressed, Yun Luoshan held a sky blue ball in her hand. She turned her head and asked Su Yiyin hesitantly, Su? President Su, can I take a picture with the baby? Su Yiyin's lips curled slightly. She left the two fuming people behind and walked to the other side of the stroller. She touched her baby's soft and meaty little hand and said, Sure. Yun Luoshan's eyes lit up slightly. Yu Yushir also recovered from her initial depression. She walked to her side and skillfully put her arms on her shoulders like a koala hugging a tree. Can I post it online? Yes, but you can't show your face. Understood. Thank you, boss. Su Yiyin was so angry that she almost laughed. At this time she knew that she was her boss. When Ning Chirue heard that the two girls wanted to take a photo with the baby, he did not want to be left out and came over to take a photo. They stayed in Su Yiyin's office for about an hour. They were worried that they might affect Su Yiyin's work, so they left. Before she left, Yu Yushir mysteriously moved closer to Su Yiyin. Actually, my sister agreed to let me stay. Other than me wanting to stay, there's another reason. What is the reason? It's you, boss. Me? That's right. My sister said that although our company is small, boss, you look like the kind of person who is very protective of people. As long as I don't cause any trouble and work hard to make money for the company. Even if someone dares to bully me, boss, you will definitely protect me and not let anyone bully me. After all, I'm from the East City. Before you hit a dog, you have to look at its owner. Su Yiyin looked at Yu Yushir with a subtle expression. So you think you're a dog? Yu Yushir, it's just a metaphor, a metaphor. Yu Yushir was stunned. Just an oh and nothing else? This reaction was not right. She had sacrificed so much and self-deprecated to the point that her race had changed. Shouldn't someone be a little more touched? As if reading Yu Yushir's inner thoughts, Su Yiyin chuckled. Don't think that you can skip class by saying something nice. I'll ask Brother Junxing to send you the class schedule later. Have a good class, otherwise. F***ck, her flattery was for nothing. Chapter 865. Since Su Yiyin said that she could post the photo online, Yu Yushir naturally would not let go of such a good opportunity to show off her baby. She simply edited the photo, blocked the baby's small face with a big yellow sun, and posted it with a caption. The boss brought the little prince to the company for an inspection today. The little prince is super cute. His little face is chubby and has small dimples. He smiles when I tease him. He looks like a little angel. Not only did Yu Yushir post it herself, but she also wanted Yun Luoshan to accompany her. Of course, Yun Luoshan would not refuse her pleas. She followed up with a similar post, but the picture blocking the baby in the group photo was replaced with an oversized sunflower. The two of them had a wave of fun showing off other people's babies and put this matter to the back of their minds. They did not expect that it would cause a storm of public opinion after this. Not long after Yun Luoshan posted this post, Ning Chirui happened to post a similar post. In the photo, a particularly large pink heart was used to block the baby's big face. Because of this heart, the anti-fans who saw Ning Chirui's post instantly had other thoughts. So, half an hour later, Ning Chirui and Yun Luoshan's agents called each of them at the same time to ask them what was going on with the post on the internet. What do you mean what's going on? It literally means that the boss brought the little prince to the company today. I had nothing to do, so I went up to take a look, played with the baby, took a picture and posted it to my fans. What happened? Nothing else? What else can there be? Go and see for yourself. Someone stared at your photo and created a scandal for you. Scandal? Ning Chirui was extremely shocked. He did not understand how he could create a scandal after just posting a post. As a result, Ning Chirui was completely dumbfounded. And Yun Luoshan? See. How did I get involved with Yun Luoshan? Although we are in the same company, I haven't spoken more than 5 sentences to her. How could this cause a scandal? It's all your fault for the picture in your post. You could have posted any picture, but you had to post a heart. You're an adult, don't you know the meaning of love? Ning Chirui was shocked. He did not expect that a small picture he had casually posted would make people think in that direction. She was really bored. I didn't think too much about it. I just thought that the boss's children were really cute. I really liked them, so I pasted a heart pattern on them. Who knew that they would? Instead of being comforted, Ning Chirui's agent became even angrier. Can't you use your brain before you do anything? You think that you're pasting the heart because you like the little crown prince, but in the eyes of others, you're confessing to the child's mother. The child's mother? Wasn't it Yun Luoshan? How is it related to the boss again? You took a picture of the boss doll and pasted the doll's face. How can it not be related to the boss? It's also thanks to your fans that you've pulled the wind towards Yun Luoshan. Otherwise, it wouldn't be the scandal between you and Yun Luoshan that's hanging on the news right now. Instead, it would be the breaking news that you've been suspected of cheating on your boss's husband. Ning Chirui. What the hell? I didn't, don't talk nonsense. I'm innocent with the boss. Chapter 866. It turned out that not long after Ning Chirui posted that post, his opponent's anti-fans and Dongqing's internet water army were collectively mobilized. They began to shift the topic to Ning Chirui's relationship with President Su, the boss of Dongqing University, and whether the two had any personal relationship. They then extended to whether Ning Chirui and Su Yayan had any relationship beyond that of a superior and subordinate. They even suspected that this child might be the product of Su Yayan's affair. After all, before this, there were rumors that although Su Yayan's husband's legs had recovered, he might not be able to function well in certain aspects. Who knew if this child was a cuckold? However, in the eyes of Ning Chirui's fans, these comments were the worst rumors and framing. Their brother was so good and outstanding. How could he be a third party when he knew that she was a married woman? Moreover, this child looked to be 2 or 3 months old. Back then, their brother was still sick and actively cooperating with the treatment. Even so, they still spread rumors that he had an affair with the boss and destroyed the boss's family. These internet water army anti-fans were really heartless. What's more, are all of you scum who spread rumors blind? Their female colleague from the same company as them had posted a similar status a few minutes ago. Why did she focus on their brother alone? Did they really think that their brother was easy to bully? The rebuttals from the fans were reasonable and well-founded. They directly hammered down this rumor that was full of mistakes and loopholes. It couldn't even float anymore. The anti-fans and internet water army were really unwilling to let such a great opportunity slip away from their hands. Since they could not start the rumor that Ning Chirui and Su Yiyan's relationship was not simple, they turned to Yun Luoshan and Ning Chirui's post. They began to vaguely hint that the relationship between the two was ambiguous and suspected of exposing their relationship. Ning Chirui figured out the whole story and was dumbfounded. Wait a minute, are they too blind? Look at the time of the post. It's obvious that Yu Yushir was the first to post. Why are the two of us being spread rumors while she was the first to post it? When the agent heard this, his eyebrows raised. What? You still want to have a scandal with her? How is that possible? I have a girlfriend. Oh, you're proud of having a girlfriend behind my back, aren't you? Oh, umph. The manager snorted. The reason why the rumors spread about you and Yun Luoshan is because you and her are slightly more famous. Although Ning Chirui had disappeared from the public eye for more than half a year due to his treatment, he had already debuted and had a certain fan base before that. He was considered a popular young star that the company had promoted. As for Yun Luoshan, because the previous variety show came to the end, she temporarily formed a small girl group with 2 other female artists in the company. They signed a 1-year contract which was about to expire soon. Because of the talent show, Dongqing City was considered a relatively large investor. In the end they formed a group. Although it was only for a year, Dongqing City gave a lot of resources to this small group. Therefore Yun Luoshan had accumulated some fame in about a year. No matter what, she was more popular than Yu Yushir, who had been injured for 100 days and was forced to withdraw from the show due to her injury. Ning Chirue's scandal was obviously caused by the other companies. In that case, of course, they had to choose 2 more famous companies to deal with. To put it bluntly, red was the original sin. If it wasn't red, it would be a protective color. Who cared who got it first? Ning Chirue, who had learned the truth, was speechless. He did not know whether to sympathize with her or envy her. Chapter 867. Like Ning Chirue, Yu Yushir and Yun Luoshan also received the news one after another after the incident on the internet. After learning that the Internet Water Army's anti-fans had skipped her and paired Yun Luoshan and Ning Chirue together, Yu Yushir was in a bad mood. It's a 3-person movie, but I don't deserve to have a name? What? Under the explanation of her and Yun Luoshan's common manager, the 2 of them understood the twists and turns in this matter, and the atmosphere suddenly became subtle. Yun Luoshan, Yu Yushir. So what if she was a mess? She was a mess now, not forever. When her new drama came out, she must ruthlessly slap the faces of these snobs who worshipped the powerful and trampled on the weak. Sister Yushir. Yun Luoshan looked at Yu Yushir nervously and worriedly, afraid that she would be angry because of this matter. Yu Yushir was indeed angry, but not at her. Why are you looking at me like that? Although these Internet Water Army marketing accounts that stir up trouble all day long and wish for the world to be in chaos are indeed annoying, if it weren't for you in front of me, there would be rumors about me and that idiot Ning Chirue. I'm afraid I would die of disgust. The disdain on Yu Yushir's face was too obvious. Yun Luoshan chuckled, and her heart was also relieved. The manager was also amused by the 2 of them. Did the 2 of you get the main point wrong? The focus now shouldn't be on how to deal with this matter. The 2 of them blushed at her words, but soon Yu Yushir frowned and complained, these people really have nothing better to do. It's just 2 photos, and they're even photos with the child, and they can relate it to a romance. Besides, even if these people are blind and can't see me, they actually turned a blind eye to such a big and cute baby in the photo. That's the little prince, the boss's little prince. If the child is there, the child's mother will naturally be there too. Which artiste would dance in front of the boss when they're in love? Do they want to die fast enough? Isn't looking at photos and writing words the best at this group of people? What can't they do for popularity? Not to mention that the timing of your development was coincidental. Even if you were to develop it separately, they would still be able to give you a seamless fit. Do you believe me? At this point, the manager could not help but roll his eyes. As for that little doll, in our eyes it's a little prince, but in the eyes of these vampires, it's the same model. This proves that the 2 of them have been in the same frame before. Yun Luoshan. Using the little crown prince as the same model, should she sigh at how imaginative these people were, or should she marvel at how audacious they were? Yu Yushir choked, and the disgust in her eyes intensified. What should we do now? Don't you think it's too late to ask this now? The manager glanced at Yu Yushir in disdain and sighed. The public relations department has already thought of an appropriate solution. The 2 of them looked at each other and asked curiously, what is it? The idea that the public relations department came up with, or rather, it was proposed by some of the artistes in the company who were itching to go to the office to see the little prince. It was very simple, and that was to make the sunbathing of the baby into the company's collective welfare event. Weren't those paid posters blind and could not see Yu Yushir? Then find a few people who were similar to Ning Chirue, or even higher than him, to go to Su Yiyen's office to take a photo with the child and post it. It would be a waste not to take advantage of the popularity that came knocking on their door. Since it had already come to this point, it was just the right time to create a collective hype for the entire company. Chapter 868. As a result, at least 20 people came in and out of Su Yiyen's office that morning. The threshold was almost broken. From popular actors like Luo Weibing and Shui Kaiwei to new artists like Jing Qiuying and Huang Zitong, the originally bright office was like a cave. Su Yiyen looked at these people who were staring at her baby with shining eyes. She only felt that her baby was like the meat of Tang Sang on the chopping board, surrounded by a group of demons and ghosts who were drooling over it. That scene was not an ordinary eyesore. Fortunately, there weren't many popular artistes in the company at this time. Some of the artistes who could vaguely see the benefits of this hype also wanted to take advantage of this opportunity to share a piece of the pie and take advantage of the popularity. Unfortunately, they were stopped before they could go up. The reason was, what's the use of going up? Didn't you see that even if a certain someone posted, those marketing accounts would pretend that they didn't see anything? You're not even as famous as her. You'll only be asking for humiliation if you go up. Stop it. This caused many artistes to resent Yu Yushir. They didn't resent her for being lucky but for being useless. If she could work harder and let those marketing accounts who look down on people create a love triangle topic, it would prove that small artistes like them also had public opinion value. They might be able to follow her up today and take advantage of the popularity. Sigh. After learning the truth, a certain someone who felt that she had been shot even though she was lying down. I've given you guys face, but you can't blame yourself for not being able to take advantage of the popularity. You're blaming me for not being able to take advantage of it. I'm so angry. It was worth mentioning that because of this photo incident, Su Yiyen saw another pillar of the company for the first time since she joined the company, Heavenly King Hong Hui. This Heavenly King, who had been crowned as a king in the music industry 4 or 5 years ago, was only in his early 30s. He looked very upright and had a cold temperament that kept people thousands of miles away. He had only debuted for 7 or 8 years, but the reason why he was able to defeat a bunch of seniors and quickly become a king was because, other than his handsome face that even anti-fans couldn't get mad at, he was extremely exaggerated. Even now, no one could match his wide vocal range. Su Yiyen had seen this person's profile and thought that he was a cold and aloof person who was not easy to get along with. However, when she really got to know him, she realized that under his cold and aloof appearance, there might not be a cold and aloof soul. He could also be hiding a simple-minded person. When Hong Hui went upstairs, Su Yiyen had just sent off a group of young ladies who had come to see the baby. She pointed at her son's little nose and complained, "Little pervert, you only know how to smile at the young ladies and ignore the young men. When you grow up, you'll definitely be a playboy." Aha! Little Xingxing thought that his mother was playing with him. He kicked his little legs and giggled. It was at this moment that Hong Hui entered Su Yiyen's office. Hearing the child's tender laughter, this cool guy who was known as the dream lover of countless fangirls blinked and stopped in his tracks. When Su Yiyen heard the noise, he looked up and saw someone standing at the door. He asked uncertainly, "Hong Hui?" Although she had never seen him in person, she had seen his photos. "Yes. Do you have something to say?" "I came up to see the child." Su Yiyen didn't doubt him. She thought that his agent had heard about the things on the internet and asked him to come over to help. "The child is here. Luo Weibing and the others just played with him for a while. I saw that he was a little sleepy. If you came later, the baby might have fallen asleep." Chapter 869. Hong Hui nodded and walked to the side of the pram. Looking at the soft little guy inside, his originally cold and hard eyes gradually softened. Su Yiyen saw this scene and a trace of surprise flashed in his eyes. Before he could say anything, he heard a burst of cheerful laughter. The two adults in the room were stunned. Su Yiyen looked at his own child for the first time, and confirmed that he was really smiling at Hong Hui. He was deeply surprised. "Child, you're smiling. Look carefully, this is a little brother, not a little sister." Little Xingxing turned a deaf ear to him and smiled even more happily. Su Yiyen looked at him and then at Hong Hui standing on the other side of the stroller. He finally confirmed that his child was really smiling at him. This was strange. "Xingxing seems to like you very much. So many people came and went today, but he only smiled at girls and only stared at boys. No matter how much I teased him, he didn't smile. Even when Luo Weibing, who looked the most handsome, just held him, he didn't smile. He just reached out and patted his face." Unexpectedly, he made an exception for Hong Hui. At the thought of this, Su Yiyen's eyes couldn't help but stay on Hong Hui's face for a while. He didn't quite understand what his child saw in this person. If someone with a more sensitive mind heard Su Yiyen's words, They might think that the little guy didn't know people and mistook him for a girl. Hong Hui was not such a person. When he heard Su Yiyen's words, his eyes lit up and he asked carefully, "Can I hold him?" The little guy was held 2 or 3 times today. Su Yiyen didn't want people to touch him again, but the little guy obviously liked Hong Hui very much. Su Yiyen hesitated for a moment and agreed, "Yes." But some people's next requests began to become strange. "Can I touch him?" "Yes." "Can't you touch him after you hold him?" "Then can I kiss him?" This is best not to." "Then can I take him home?" "Su Yiyen?" "No." "Oh, Su Yiyen. What are you trying to do by looking so reluctant and pitiful? Those who don't know might think that my child is yours. You shameless strange uncle, stay away from my baby." Just as Su Yiyen raised the alarm and was ready to drive this child thief out of the office, a figure hurriedly ran in from the outside. The moment he saw Hong Hui, he was helpless and angry. "You really are here." When he saw the child in Hong Hui's arms, he was so scared that he almost lost his soul. "Why are you carrying a child? Put the child down, put him down." When Su Yiyen heard his words, she became even more nervous. Could it be that this guy really had the tendency to steal children? Just as he was about to snatch the child back, he heard Hong Hui's manager shout in confusion, the little prince actually didn't cry?" This shout startled the baby, who was about to fall asleep with his eyes closed, and he opened his eyes in a daze. Hong Hui's expression changed slightly. He hurriedly and clumsily shook the child, and his sharp eyes flew towards the manager. Su Yiyen was also a little unhappy. She frowned and said, "My baby doesn't like to cry. Do you have a problem with that?" Hong Hui's manager? "What's going on?" "I just came up to stop this black-faced god and save an innocent child from suffering. How did I become the bad guy? This development is not right." Chapter 870. The manager was stunned for a few seconds before he finally understood the situation. He said awkwardly, "Hello, Mr. Su. I'm Hong Hui's manager, Su Yangwei." Su Yiyen was stunned. "Yang? What?" Su Yangwei's expression stiffened. He tried to explain, "Yang from a poplar tree and Wei from a great one. My father's surname is Su, and my mother's surname is Yang. They hope that I can be a great person in the future, so they gave me this name." Su Yiyen looked at him sympathetically. "You've worked hard all these years." Su Yangwei almost cried on the spot. All these years, because of this name, he had to bear everything by himself. "So, you two have a fight?" "Ahem, no. I'm just afraid that he'll come up and make the child cry." Su Yiyen was slightly stunned. "Make the child cry?" Su Yangwei glanced at Hong Hui, who was hugging little Xingxing, and said awkwardly, "It's like this. Don't be fooled by Hong Hui's tall and stern appearance. Actually, he really likes children." But children didn't like him. Those ignorant little brats who had just been born not long ago didn't know anything. How could they know whether a man was handsome or not? When they saw his sullen face, they immediately cried loudly. They didn't even dare to open their eyes, let alone let him hold them. He was like an ancient killing machine used to stop children from crying at night. "I've heard about the small artists in the company. The public relations department also called me and asked if Hong Hui was willing to come up and join in the fun." Su Yangwei said with a bitter expression. "Of course Hong Hui is willing. But if he puts his face in front of the little prince, who knows? Would the little prince cry on the spot?" There was no parent who didn't love their children. Even if Su Yiyen was reasonable and knew that he couldn't blame Hong Hui for this. But if it really came to this point, it wouldn't look good on anyone. It would be better if he didn't come up in the first place. However, he didn't expect that after he had told a certain someone to stop him from going upstairs, the person would disappear in the blink of an eye. Su Yangwei reacted quickly and rushed upstairs immediately. However, he didn't expect that what he was worried about didn't happen. Instead, he saw the little prince lying obediently in Hong Hui's arms and yawning. The scene was actually a little warm. What the hell? After listening to Su Yangwei's explanation, Su Yiyen knew that Hong Hui only liked children and did not have any ulterior motives. She was relieved. The baby likes him quite a lot. He wasn't scared by him. He even smiled at him just now. When Su Yangwei heard Su Yiyen's words, he was a little surprised. He thought to himself that the little prince was indeed the little prince. He was braver than the average child. He was not afraid of the black-faced god at all. After figuring out the whole story, Su Yiyan glanced at the baby who was sleeping soundly in Hong Hui's arms with a subtle expression. She didn't expect that this seemingly serious and cold man who could sweep away the hearts of many girls would have the potential to be a stay-at-home dad. The baby is asleep. Give him back to me. As Su Yiyan spoke, she reached out to Hong Hui and asked him to return the child to her. Hong Hui looked at the child and then looked at Su Yiyan. He didn't move. He likes me. Hong Hui reluctantly moved little Xingxing to Su Yiyan at a speed that was almost invisible to the naked eye. He didn't give up and said, "Can't I carry him home?" Chapter 871. The blue veins on Su Yiyan's forehead bulged. Without thinking, she snatched the child back. No. After saying that, she still felt that it was not enough to vent her anger. She added fiercely, "Give birth to it yourself." As soon as Su Yiyan said that, the atmosphere in the room suddenly became subtle. Just when Su Yiyan felt a little guilty and felt that her words were too heartless, she heard Hong Hui say faintly, "I can't give birth to it." When someone said this, his eyes were still staring in the direction of little Xingxing. He looked like a large dog that could not get its favorite toy and wanted to pounce on her son at any moment. Su Yiyan? Of course you can't give birth to it alone. If you want to have a child, you have to find a girlfriend first. A single dog without a girlfriend dares to think about the baby. You want to eat sh*t? Get out of here. Su Yiyan was once again sure that although this person had no malice toward her baby, he was also the super reserve in the whole company who was most likely to steal a child. In order to prevent her child from being stolen, after Hong Hui took a photo with her child, Su Yiyan decisively asked Su Yangwei to take the child away quickly with her eyes. Fortunately, Su Yangwei was quite helpful. He dragged the big silly boy away who wanted to take root in Su Yiyan's office and looked back repeatedly as he left. After the uninvited guest left, the office finally returned to its original tranquility. Su Yiyan breathed a long sigh of relief. Looking at the baby sleeping soundly in the stroller, she pinched his chubby little leg and smiled faintly. "You little guy are quite charming. You've only been here for a day and you've already caused me so much trouble. It seems that I can't bring you to the company often in the future. You know how to attract bees and butterflies at such a young age. What will happen when you grow up?" Woo. In his sleep, little Xingxing struggled a little to show his resistance. It was unknown whether it was because he was uncomfortable being caught or because he did not agree with Su Yiyan's words. Seeing this, Su Yiyan felt helpless and amused. She leaned over and kissed him fiercely. At that time, Dongqing City's public relations had begun to take effect. Luo Weibing, Shui Kaiwei, Huang Zitong and others jumped out one after another to participate in the photo-sharing activity. Even Hong Hui, whose public account was full of weeds all year round and he didn't get a single update for months, also joined in the fun. The fans of the artists were celebrating together. There was no need for the water army to guide them. Whether it was the fans or the passers-by, they all spontaneously characterized this photo posting as a group gathering of the company's employees. As the company's CEO, Su Yiyan brought her son to attend the event. Relying on her own abilities, she helped the little prince gather the high-definition autographs of all the well-known artists under her company for a group photo. At this time, no one continued to discuss the so-called relationship between Ning Chirui and Yun Luoshan. There were only a large number of corresponding artists and fans who were sour in the comments section of their idols. In the past, I only knew that rich people fell quickly. Today I finally know that rich people fall quickly. It's really unimaginable for us commoners. The little prince who was born with a silver spoon in his mouth was not even a year old, but he was able to take a group photo with his brothers and sisters in the company and debut in the center position. The girl who chased after him shed sour tears. Previous poster, you're wrong. Rich people might not be able to do this. At the end of the day, you still need a powerful mother. Look, Zai Zai, this is the country that mother has built for you. These little brothers and sisters are the harem that mother has prepared for you. Ha ha, it's that smell. Is it just my illusion? Why do I feel that my Hui Hui in the little prince's photo is particularly infatuated? The way they look at the baby is like frying chicken with warm oil. Brother, do you still remember your cold and domineering straight man persona? You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.